It's Grapsody with Will, Phil, and Reg, trying to keep it real instead of what you usually get from these talking heads. It's Grapsody, we're here to fill the void. 3 black fans, different perspective, gotta fill your voice. Coming with the podcast, talking majors, indies in between. Yeah, it's all that, and we're down with Fightful, better fall back. Coming for respect, we connect like a ball bat. No need to double check, these are all facts. You're listening to us talk raps. You're listening to us talk raps. Will, Phil, and Reg. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps.
You ever think people like open this live or whatever, like come to the link and they're like watching it and they like see the other guy in the video, and then you get to the end, it's like Will, Phil, and Reg, and it's like, well, wait a minute, it's only 2 of you guys. Like, you'll never think like they get confused. Like,
so often, Philip Lindsey, every time I hear the song, I'm always like, first of all, shout out to Righteous Reg for this song. You know, I produced that, like I rapped on it too. Good to me. And then I'm like, but it's like Will, he's in the video, shouting out Will. And then, like you said, Will, Phil, and Reg, and then it gets to just Reg and Phil. And I'm always like, are there people that sometimes like, is Will on this show? And then like are very disappointed when he's not on the show?
Yeah, I don't know. Tangent aside, this is Grapsody. I'm Phil Lindsey. That's Righteous Reg. Will Washington is no longer with us.
Whoa.
That makes it sound like he's dead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was like, what happened to Will?
He is still around somewhere. He's just no longer with us on this outlet.
It's your favorite rapper, your favorite writer, your favorite podcaster, Righteous Reg, Media Man, Will Washington, not dead. He's still alive in the world, in the lexicon, probably going to be at Collision tonight or something. I don't know. But shout out to the homies. Shout out to everybody for tuning in this Saturday morning. Very excited to be here. A lot of great wrestling to talk about. A lot of funny moments in life to talk about. And I'm sure my friend wants to send a couple shots at everybody's favorite basketball player.
I know shots, man.
You got none?
I ain't no shots. I just think things are funny, man. I just we had to sit for a minute, and you know, people was getting on ESPN saying the Lakers were saving basketball, even though other teams were playing great basketball.
Why are they saying this?
And I was just like, hold on, guys, like, hold on. They made a trade. They're climbing up the ladder, but they're still not even the best team in the conference.
No, not even close.
And so let's calm down a little bit. But yeah, basketball did happen. These guys went down. The Los Angeles Lakers went down 3-1, and I was looking around like, he's only come back from 3-1 one time, and that was against the Golden State Warriors in the infamous finals where your guy Draymond got suspended. Changed the face of basketball, changed a lot of conversations. I think about that quite often. What would have happened if he did not get suspended and the Lakers did not win that series? Yeah, a lot of conversations would be very different. But alas, Warriors went into Game 5. Hilariously, ironically, Game 5 against the Minnesota Timberwolves after we had a lot of memes from a guy that's not on ESPN at the moment for reasons. And
man,
a lot of people was like, man, Lakers in 5. And so I was like, man, what are the odds? What are the odds after all of that these guys are going to actually lose in 5? And I was like, no, karma's not that great. The basketball guys gave me 2 wins over these guys in the regular season. Chicago Bulls. Life isn't that funny, is it? Turns out life is very funny.
Sometimes you get a little, not every day is like a big hilarious laugh, but some days are a big ha ha he he. After seeing the Lakers get washed and Anthony Edwards outside the arena talking trash to everybody and being amazing, and then seeing LeBron limping out of the arena, I was like, you know what? This is a bit. After all that's happened this season, Stephen A, Bronny, every controversy that he's been through with not sticking to basketball, and now this.
Very funny.
It's almost like karma, I think.
Very funny. Minnesota Timberwolves came into the season with a lot of people doubting their chances of being able to go back to the finals after they made a pretty controversial change. Traded Towns to New York. I always thought that the New York Knicks got the best of that trade. No knock to Randall, but Towns is Towns. Towns is a top 5 center. So I always figured they were going to have a tough time getting back to the finals. And you see that with where they are. They're 6th seed and lined up just right to play a fraudulent 3rd seed. From the beginning, when people were talking about how good they are, I'm like, this seed don't really tell the story, man. I think guys is kind of fraudulent. And seeing them lose in 5, fraudulent. Fraudulent basketball team. I tried to tell you guys several times. Chuck tried to tell y'all several times. Every time Chuck says, you guys, you don't get better when you get older. You get worse. And this is as a guy that's sitting on TNT because he's washed. He knows.
He knows.
And so every time people call him a hater for this, I'm like, no, he sees it. He sees it, guys.
This is why we need this professional analyst, because this is someone that's been there and done that, been in those situations, been a little bit past his prime and still trying to get after it. And that's exactly what it is. The talk on Luka this whole year and the crazy trade, Phil, and then he gets to the Lakers and they're like, actually, the Lakers are the best team in the NBA. And you're like, hold on, you guys, we probably should relax. And then the talk of him in this playoff series and people being the same thing pretty much of this guy never plays defense. He just gives up on defense. And then you see a lot of the plays and you're like, he's building a case.
It got kind of nasty. It turned into people saying maybe Nico was right about him.
That was crazy. I was like,
which was ridiculous. That's still a terrible trade. We're not going to rewrite history.
Never.
But this turned into people again doing he's out of shape. He's terrible on defense. I don't know if this is a bold statement. Some people might not like this statement. In those 5 games, I think he was the best player on the team. I think he played better than anybody else on that team. When you look at stats, like he led in scoring, and I believe he led in assists. He was the best player on the floor in those games. That series is not competitive without Luka. So to watch people the next day talk about how terrible he is on defense and how out of shape he is, I'm like, bro, y'all are not a 3rd seed without that guy. Y'all are not in that position. Y'all are not even, again, it's not a competitive series without that guy. So for people to do the same thing I've seen people do to multiple teammates of this guy, as soon as they lose, all right, let's now bash him. It happened with Westbrook. It happened with Chris Bosh. It happened with Kyrie. It happened with multiple guys. And I'm just like, no, we're not going to do that. Luka isn't a great defender, but that guy is also the reason y'all were in this position. And not to say that LeBron also didn't play well, but bro, them numbers tell the story, man.
Yeah, it was. They were doing that when AD was there too, and it was like, well, if it wasn't for AD, they wouldn't even be in contention. Pretty much the same thing,
bro. And I saw people trying to say the same thing. Now all of a sudden, we would have done better with AD, bro. I heard how y'all were talking about AD
crazy
before he left. Like, let's chill out on that. But man, listen. Shout out to the Minnesota Timberwolves, because I did not think they were going to win this series. I was wrong. My dad had the victory lap of all victory laps, because he told me at the beginning of the playoffs, Minnesota's winning this series. I was like, I don't know, Dad. He was like, I'm telling you. Now, this could be that he was just hoping they were going to win because he don't like the Lakers. He don't like LeBron.
Worked out.
But he was right. And so the hilarity of some people are like, I was waiting to see how you react. My phone was dead at one point. So I looked over and my phone was dead and I plugged it in, and all of a sudden I got all these missed calls. My dad right at the top, all of these people texting me like, y'all, you see this? And I was like, I tried to tell you guys, man.
Yeah.
This isn't a championship team, man. You put a Band-Aid over it, you add Luka to it. They still don't have the depth. That team still doesn't complement Luka well. And Anthony Edwards is the future. It's the same thing. I know people don't want to see this, but LeBron James is 40 years old, guys.
Yeah.
His time's over. He's had his time in the sun. He's already planted his flag. He's already built his legacy as one of the greatest players ever. It's over.
We're good here.
It's Anthony Edwards' time. It's Wembanyama's time. It's it's SGA.
Yeah.
Joker. All of these guys are younger, hungrier. It's their time.
Yeah. And they're washing him at all points.
Yes.
And like, I understand, like, I think we did it, LeBron. Like, you play with Bronny, like you are a legend. You're on the list, first ballot Hall of Famer. Like, we can't, the way that ESPN and these networks are still talking about him after he's out is like, all right, you guys, like, I understand who he is, but we gotta move on.
It's time. And it's not just him. It's KD time as well. KD's time is up, bro. He's gotten older. He's had his time.
My guys too.
Steph is getting to that point. Looking at that game last night, I'm like, man, them guys over there in Houston, they're hungry, man.
Yeah.
Younger.
Young, go hards, ready to tear you guys down, that have been waiting for this opportunity to change the faces of the league. And SGA is not playing with y'all, dog. He's here to take over. This is his now. And all the young guys are saying that this is ours now.
That guy at home resting, bro.
Man.
He got it done in the first round.
Yeah.
He resting.
Ain't no game 7 over there. He's ready. He's ready for the next one.
Ain't no game 6 or game 7 over here. That was light work, man. AFC, get them up out of here. Next.
Yes.
That's what time it is, bro. Same thing with the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're looking around like, cool. Next.
How you feel about the New York Knicks?
I figured they were gonna win that series, man. Detroit
ended.
Yeah, Detroit, man, had a good run up this year. I think for them having a turnaround from a terrible season last year. Yeah. Hate to say it, but Detroit basketball is back. Seeing a lot of Detroit fans out, it felt good. I seen a homie in Vegas that was a Detroit fan. And, the funny thing about LeBron stuff in me, and I'm always kind of like, I'll laugh when he loses, and I have a blast with this. It's the same with me in Detroit basketball. It's the same with me in Detroit football. But Detroit fans get it. They don't take it personally.
It's just sports.
It's just sports. It's just basketball. But the fact that Lakers fans are like, oh, here you go. It's like, guys, why y'all making this personal, man? This is funny to me. Y'all don't think this is funny? Oh, okay, cool. If you don't,
they do not think it's funny.
If you don't, you're gonna have a bad time if you follow me on anything. I hate to break it to you, but
listen, sometimes you just have to accept your fate. And watching the Warriors these last couple of games, I'm like, you know what?
They still got a chance, but
they still definitely got a chance. But like the next round, then what? You can't, like, seeing you guys this early looking like this is not the greatest sign. But like, still got 4 championships. It's like, I'm not complaining at all. But that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I know it's time. Like, I know Steph's not the number 1 player in basketball anymore. I know Draymond's not the number 1 defender anymore. I know, just like, that's how the game is.
That seat is warm, man. It's time for somebody else to take up that mantle of face of the league. It's coming.
Yeah, it is.
Everybody's time comes, man. And yeah, man, I think that the Knicks Detroit series ended up being very good. The last game was great. It looked like Detroit was going to pull it out for a second. Brunson. Boy, Brunson put my man on skates, hit that 3. I was like, oh my god,
oh my god. The homie was almost in the crowd at one point, it felt like, and then Brunson came back and, like, you know how those New York Knicks fans are, and when that shot hit, like, I can hear, like, Tim Boots just like 20 million Tim Boots just slapping the ground at the same time. It was like
the
Tims excited for them, though.
The Tims were on the ground. Newports was getting lit. It was that time, buddy.
Fuck out of here, you heard?
It was that time, buddy. So man, look, Knicks are going up against the Boston Celtics next round. I know how Knicks fans feel about Boston.
That series is gonna get aggressive.
I seen a friend of the show, wrestling podcaster, well-known black man in the space, Kazim Famawide in Vegas, and I asked him what was his chances, man, and he said, "Nah, man, Orlando was gonna, take a chunk out of these guys, and they weren't gonna come in as well rested. Boston Celtics are well rested guys.
They're very rested.
They're very well rested. I hate to admit it, they look better than they did last year.
Yeah."
I think there's a very good chance that Boston is going to. I think there's a very good chance Boston is going to win the Eastern Conference, man. I think there's a very, very good chance they're going back to the finals.
Yeah, me too.
I kind of wish the Knicks didn't have to see them into the conference finals, but I think Boston's going to beat these guys. Sorry, New Yorkers. I think Boston's going to win.
Boston is coming to eat these guys lunch. Like, I'm so sorry, New York, but the Boston guys are resting right now, and they're watching so much film, and they're practicing, and they're ready to eat your guys lunch. It's exciting for New York and Boston to be going at it. Long time rivals in all spaces of sports and life. So that should be exciting. The fans are going to be rowdy, to say the least, aggressive, scary at moments. So I'm sure that should be really fun.
They're going to be like fun, K-Quick getting rowdy, or just like really rowdy?
Not fun.
Okay.
They're going to be climbing things and jumping off of light posts.
Yeah, no, but that should be a good series. I think it's going to go 6-7 games. But I am tentatively picking Boston to win that series.
Yeah.
I think Indiana over celebrated because Milwaukee has been mid for the past 4 years. They got lucky winning that championship. Sorry, Milwaukee fans. I do think that they got very lucky. If KD's foot is not on that line, they don't win a championship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't. Because ever since then, it hasn't been anything close to that.
It's been downhill since then. I think Hallie's dad over celebrating, jumping in Giannis's face was hilarious. But I'm like, bro, I don't know if you know this, but next round you're heading into a buzzsaw that is the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're not going to win that series. I would venture to say that the Cavs might sweep Indiana, man.
Yeah, and for you to get on there and taunt this guy and that was crazy. He's been wild and definitely banned for pretty much from games and stuff. So,
really, I didn't see that.
Yeah, they were said for the foreseeable future he can't come to games. So he's out for any other games for the rest of the playoffs.
Yo, that is hilarious, man. Ball so hard.
Listen, you know how dads be though. Like you were talking trash to my son throughout the series. Y'all talking all that shit everywhere. Like, I'm gonna get mine's off right now. Oh, I see him right there.
I get it. But yeah, I think Indiana is about to take this L big time to the Cleveland Cavs. Minnesota, man. Minnesota could be going up against either Houston or Warriors. Selfishly, I want to see Anthony Edwards go up against Jimmy Butler next round because I think that would be a fun matchup, but not looking good, bro. It's not looking
Houston
good.
Guys are aggressive. I've been using that word a lot in the last couple minutes. They are super hungry on defense. Dog, it's just like I'm frustrated watching the games. How like they control the court. You know what I mean? Like It makes me angry. I'm like, to do something about this, and they can't do anything about this. They're just being smothered, dog. They're being smothered. And when they're asking DB about Steph's thumb, they were like, "Well, are you targeting that?" And he's like, "Yeah, I don't like." He's like, "If my ankle was hurt, people would target that. This is basketball. Like, I'm gonna do anything that I could do to win." And when he said that, I was like, you know what? This series I'm scared. And
basketball,
then the next game, he came as aggressive as he could be, and I was like,
basketball game. Yeah. Curry is getting smothered. Somebody else needs to step up. Game 7 is gonna be tough, man. I don't know. It's gonna be a good game, but it's gonna be tough. Clippers came out of nowhere. Clippers have a chance to move ahead. I don't know what to make of this series. I kind of think
it's a dogfight.
I kind of think Clippers are going to move forward, man.
Yeah.
Kawhi's been Kawhi. When Kawhi is healthy, he's one of the best players on the floor.
Yeah, having healthy Kawhi, like seeing him play and be like active on both sides of the court, and you're like, oh yeah, that's why. Like, this is why he was at once considered the best player in the NBA, and he still has all that when it comes to this game and in the playoffs. Bro's different.
Yeah. But
them last minute of the game Kawhi points, I'm like, yo, this guy's a murderer. He's going crazy.
Yeah. But that conference at this point is OKC's to win, in my opinion. I don't see them losing. I think this is their year. I would not be surprised if they win a championship. They just look that good. They have the depth and everything. The only thing that's really, I can't
believe you're saying this. The OKC, like every time I even hear it, I'm like, what? They're gonna win the they have the chance to win the championship, but then you see them and you're like, oh yeah,
them guys is legit, man. The only thing that might stop them is experience, man. But Shout out before we move on from basketball talk to, I think, the greatest coach of all time, Gregg Popovich, officially retired. I figured that was coming with all of the health issues he struggled with this year. He's going to step away and be a part of the executive staff for San Antonio Spurs. What a great career. The amount of people that he has influenced on the coaching side, the amount of players that he has played a part in their career. The run that the San Antonio Spurs had, I think, is underrated. The big stars that he has coached against and beat, I mean, beating the Lakers with Kobe in their prime, going up against that San Antonio team with Steve Nash, annihilating LeBron in his first appearance in the finals, and then having to contend with him on the Heat as well. Like, what a legendary career, man.
Every time you hear about like the greatest of all times, the LeBrons, the Kobes, anytime that they lost some big game, usually Pop was on the other side coaching that team. Like, this is how legendary this guy was. Like, the bad loss, when the guys talk about the worst loss in like their career, usually Gregg Popovich is the one that was coaching against them. And it's crazy the amount of influence, like you said, he has, the amount of games that he coached, the amount of times that I listen to like a lot of basketball clips and talks, and every player that ever played for him, nothing but positivity. Never hear, they are always like, I love him, he was the greatest coach, great, we have these great moments. Like, you just always hear so many amazing things about him. They're still going to be able to get his expertise with him being president now of the organization. So this is good. I hope that his health is improving and hope that he's in a good space. But what a legendary career.
Yeah, great career. The stuff that he's spoken up on politically and social as well is part of what makes him such an incredible, not just coach, but just an incredible human being, just incredible like personality to have around the sport, man.
What a guy.
Yeah, big fan of Pop. And I do believe, despite Phil Jackson having direct ties to Chicago Bulls winning 6 championships, I do think Gregg Popovich is the greatest coach of all time.
Yeah, like I think with like I said, have how the players that he played up against and what he did in those situations, hard to deny.
Yeah,
hard to deny. Before we move forward to super chats and things, did you see this Maul and DJ Head interview or clips from it of them discussing Kendrick and Drake? And Maul is he entered grifter territory a long time ago, but the way he was talking on this pod, Phil, I was like, oh, this guy's lost, I think.
Yeah, I actually watched the whole thing just because I was interested to see how this went. Shout out to DJ Head. I think he's a great personality in the space to go from somebody that was a DJ and somebody that was relatively behind the scenes to now out of the beef and everything, being somebody that is on podcasts and people want his opinions, and he's very good at it. He's very articulate. He's very well spoken,
knowledgeable.
Very knowledgeable as well. So, man, just very impressed every time I watch him. And he's a big wrestling fan, Punk fan. But yeah, I watched it because I kept seeing the clips. And I initially saw the clip where Rory was talking about having him on, and he was asking the fans to send in questions. I was like, oh, this should be interesting. For context for people, this is officially the 1-year anniversary of probably the greatest hip hop beef of all time.
Wow.
And I believe like yesterday, that was when Family Matters and all of the big records dropped.
Unbelievable. Can't believe it's been a year already. What a crazy year. Like, thinking of all the things that have went down, the Super Bowl, just doing Not Like Us at karaoke, and the whole karaoke bar being excited about it. There's been so many funny moments attached to this. Can't believe it's been a year.
Yeah, it's officially been a year since Kendrick versus Drake took over the world. And watching these guys talk about it a year later was fascinating. DJ Head the entire time was talking like somebody that was on the winning side of history. Maul is still trying to plead his case as somebody that keeps telling us that Drake won this battle, But at every turn and everything he says, I'm like, you really don't believe that. And the fact that you're working so hard to try to convince people tells me you really don't believe that.
Because at every corner, he's like, yeah, Drake won, but also Drake didn't really care. He was bowing out. Like, there was moments that he didn't care as much about. I'm like, all right, Ma, I don't really.
There was some absolutely wild coping going on. At one point, he was like, what did Drake really have to gain from winning this
That's
battle?
what I was like, all right.
What are you talking about, dude? And he was like,
what does he have to gain?
He was already at the top of the game. He was already getting offered the Super Bowl and all these other things. So what would he have gained from this? Kendrick gained more from winning this than Drake ever would have, which is an absolute lie.
Yeah, come on.
I mean, yeah, we knew that Drake was battle tested. Like, the perception of Drake changed after the Meek battle, because that changed how people looked at Drake in a way. It was like, oh, maybe Drake ain't that guy to play with. Like, the way we tried to play with him over the ghostwriting accusations, and when it's time to get in there and rap, though, he's gonna get in there and rap. And I mean, that was shown in this. I mean, Family Matters is still Family Matters. It just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. He was rapping on there. But to sit there and say he doesn't gain anything from this, bro. if he won a battle against what a lot of hardcore hip hop heads perceive as the greatest at the moment, if he beat him in that battle, no, his fans would be insufferable. Yeah. You wouldn't be able to talk about Drake in any of these conversations anymore without people saying, nah, he's the guy. He's untouchable.
And the perception of the people that he wants and respects in the game would have changed. Like, if he would have beat Kendrick, everybody in the hip hop space that he respects and loves and came up loving would have been like, Drake did that. I didn't expect it, and I can't believe he did it, and he did it. The space that he wants to exist in, that he's always trying to be in from the beginning as a backpack rapper, saying that Fonte was his favorite rapper, he would have been in there. They would have been certified in that space if he would have won the battle. To say he would have gained nothing is laughable.
Insanity.
He would have gained so much.
That's why he responded.
Exactly.
He wouldn't have responded if he wasn't tired of the idea that he can't rap against him and that he's not respected among some of his peers. Yeah. He wanted to respond to that and shut that talk up once and for all.
Right.
Now,
exactly.
Head said at one point, and now that I think about it, I'm like, man, I probably would have said the same thing. He was saying his manager or somebody told him at the time, this is the worst thing he could have ever done, was responding to this. This is one of the worst things, one of the worst career decisions he's ever made. And Head was like, no. And I would have said the same thing at the time too. Like, no, he has to respond.
Got to.
But now looking back on it, he never should have responded. Never should have responded to like
when
that.
When it started, you could go back to the podcast of Phil and I just so excited about this thing being like, I'm so happy Drake responded going into this. In hindsight, if he would have said, I'm good, I'd be like, yeah, because where it is now, I'm like, yo, I can't believe, like, Drake is still Drake and Drake still exists. And there's people like Maul and his fan base that don't care. But for a lot of people, perception has totally changed. Things have totally flipped. He's a different rapper in a lot of people's eyes because of what Kendrick Lamar did.
Yeah, some people are never going to look at him the same.
Exactly. That's it.
That's just the truth of the matter. And that was another Maul thing. He was saying, well, first of all, he's still saying in this conversation that he doesn't believe that Drake lost. But he also was saying, like, has this really impacted his career? And they asked him at one point, he was like, I don't know that it's really impacted his career. I'm like, dog. Now, this was also funny because Head called him delusional at one point. And Damaris and Rory like took umbrage with that. They started defending him like that's kind of a crazy thing to say. I'm like, dog, y'all have sat and listened to his takes. Some of these takes are delusional. Like, let's be honest, dog. Like, we don't have to do this, man.
They've been on the other side of him being delusional. We've seen it. We've heard it. We've watched it on their podcast. So that thing was ridiculous. The Euphoria thing of him being like, I don't remember that song. And like, that was one of the Super Bowl songs. Like, you don't remember nothing.
I don't remember that song. And then he kept insisting that I respect Kendrick. I think he's a great rapper. I think he should stop doing that song. I'm like, yeah, I bet you do think he should stop doing that song. And then he feels like he's in that same lane of people that are saying that Kendrick's dragging it by continuing to do this song. He's being petty. Dog, this is the biggest song of his career. This is the biggest hit of his career. He's gonna perform this until the end of time, buddy.
Do they not? All of a sudden, they don't understand how gigantic hits work, Phil. Like, all of a sudden, they like hip hop is out the window. Like, oh no, stop it. This song that everybody in the world knows, and a lot of people are coming to your show to hear. Stop doing it. You're dragging it. All right, buddy. Yeah, no. I'm about to do this song. I might do it 7 times like they used to do niggas in Paris. I don't know what you want from me.
That's not how this works. At one point, he started doing all this conspiracy talk about how Drake didn't lose the battle. The battle lost him because he saw where this was going, and the
battle lost him is insane.
He made this whole side quest where he was saying, you know, Kendrick had talked to Lucien before all of this, before he made a move, and like you're trying to make it seem like Kendrick did all of this to mess up Drake's business and mess up his contract talk. And I'm just like, dude, this had nothing to do with that, dog. Nothing.
He's been plotting on him since like 2013. This is a long con, Phil. Since like 2013, 2012. He's been like, I'm going to shut this guy down. I'm going to go through his business. I'm going to get him where it hurts. No, dog, that's not what this is.
No, what he did was he tried to destroy the illusion of Drake. He got out here and he said, bro, y'all think that guy is the greatest? I'm going to show you guys why. Not only is this guy a fraud, but don't even mention him in the same conversation with me. Yeah. I am better than him in any way, and I'm offended that you guys think he's the best. And let me show you why. And he convincingly showed everybody, no, this guy is not the greatest.
Yeah, that's what the whole battle was based off of. Kendrick being offended that fuck the big 3, nigga, it's just big me was the start. You know, that was like one of the catalysts of breaking this off of like, don't even mention me next to these guys. I'm different, and I'm going to show you exactly why I'm different, piece by piece, bar by bar, and in a very dancey, hot song also.
And stop playing with me. That was the tone of all of this. Stop playing with me. Don't go and make this first-person shooter record and invite me to come over there and do it with you and be buddy. Like, oh, look, we're the big 3. You know why I don't want to be on that record. You know why I don't fuck with you. It's not something that's out there publicly, but you know why. Like, cut it out.
That was even the funny part about the mall stuff is like Drake's tone to start it was also kind of, they keep saying that Kendrick is better than me, that I can't rap with these guys. Here I am finally showing you guys that I can rap with these guys. Like, that was the whole tone of him starting this too. So for him to be like, oh, he didn't really care, he was just throwing Kendrick a bone. Like, no, dog, that's not what happened.
I'll ask you this because DJ had said this multiple times and they disagreed with him on there. Do you think that Drake was the aggressor in this rap beef?
Yeah, drop. Like the calling him short and all that record was aggressive. All that tone, everything he was saying, he's calling him short. Like the whole time Drake was giving up that energy.
So some people will say that Drake wasn't the aggressor because the Like That record kicked off everything. And so they'll be like, well, Kendrick was the aggressor here.
First person shooter, though.
But
he's a passive aggressor.
That's what I was about to say. He didn't come out and throw shots at him on first person shooter. But it's like I'm saying, you are playing with me. You're playing in my face. It's like, you know why I didn't want to do that record. And y'all are running around doing this buddy. Look, we're the best rappers alive. And, you know, also here's this empty seat for Kendrick. He's here with us. And he's like, dog, I'm not here. Stop playing with me, man.
People have to get to the point to figure out that first person shooter, that whole situation, even if there ain't bars said at a person, that was a diss to Kendrick, at least, you know?
Yeah. So I fully believe that Drake was the aggressor, but I think
definitely
he was the aggressor because he was doing a lot of slick shit that people did not notice.
Right.
And the people that are in the know. And that's what's so funny about Maul continuously going, oh, but he didn't do that. Like That kicked off all of this. And the stuff he's saying about TaylorMade, and he didn't understand why TaylorMade was disrespectful to Pac and Snoop. I'm like, what are you talking about, bro?
Like you were down with Rock, your brother. Like like why are you being so obtuse and like, well, I don't even understand. Why is that a thing? You know why that's a thing, dude. You were there for Jay and Nas, dog. You know what hip hop beef is. Stop trying to act like these are all new concepts here,
dog. It used to be not just taboo. You could get fucked up by stealing somebody else's lines. You're not supposed to steal somebody else's bars. You're not supposed to steal somebody else's flow. All of that is no, you don't do that. So the idea of you taking somebody who's dead and taking his voice and likeness without permission, no, you don't do that. That's disrespectful, bro. And we're not even getting into the ethics of AI and stuff. Just in hip hop, you don't do that.
You don't do it. Like, we don't even have to talk about AI. That don't have to be a thing. You are using Pac in a battle against a West Coast rapper. Like,
you don't do that.
What? Like, there's so many things wrong with that. And Maul's still like, no, it wasn't. The battle lost him is, I'm like, what did you, how did your brain even formulate that? Like, what does that even mean?
Maul at one point said that Kendrick made it California against Drake, and I was like, he didn't make it California against Drake. Drake made it California against Drake. The second it looked like he disrespected Pac and OGs from Cali, and he got on the record and said, I get more love in your city than you.
Nope, you don't.
No, that once you said that, the city was like, nah, we're gonna show you.
And then you think that they gonna let you disrespect Pac? That's real. Like, soon as he, like, you involved us too. Like, first of all, you going against Kendrick, we're already team Kendrick because we're the Bay. But then you pretty much intentionally involved us, and like now it's all in California. You're out of here. You did this. Because there were still a bunch of people in California that are team. I talk to people on a daily that are still like Drake, but like the majority is like, nah, this guy's crazy.
Yeah. And you kept playing with certain energy that in Cali you just not supposed to play with. Like him doing, as like I said, I like Family Matters, but you doing a line, hit the Delilah with all of my ice, hit the Delilah, bro. All right, dog. All right, like don't play with that and pull up. It's guys that take that seriously, dog.
You haven't watched any of those dumb Adam 22 interviews or whatever with like those real life Crips. Those guys take everything serious. It ain't a game to them. Like, they're real. Like, you can't play with these guys. And like, he started playing with these guys. He thought it was just like a tab. This is for Kendrick, but like, no, these guys are listening and it's for them.
He kept trolling and playing with certain stuff, and people took offense. That's why I'm like, it didn't take much for Kendrick to go like, y'all see this over here? Y'all gonna let him get away with that? Because he was playing. It's like, dog, you keep playing with certain stuff that people over there on the West Coast don't play with.
And then they don't play on the West Coast, dog. Like, yeah, no, that's it. Like, people do not understand. This guy's God. There's still murals put up on a daily of Tupac. People praise this guy. It's a different level of energy. It's like Pac, Mac Dre, like Nipsey. Like, there's some people over here that you can't cross those lines. And when you cross those lines, there's no turning back.
Yeah, there's definitely no turning back, to the point that I still think some of the energy is a little bit scary because, man, people in Cali don't play, man. Like, we've seen this multiple times, dog. Like,
people do not forget. California is very loyal. The West Coast in general, very loyal. We ride. We include, Arizona and Vegas and Washington. All those people are. West Coast is on a different level of energy. And when you bring that over here, you're gonna bring that over here. So, but yeah, I totally stand that he should have probably bowed out. Like, he should have. J. Cole, he should have did the same thing. Like, you know what?
It was too late.
I don't need this.
I'm saying that it was probably a bad idea to respond to like that. But
where could he have gotten out at?
It had gotten too far, man. That had been building for like 10 years. It was too late.
Couldn't have gotten out. Yeah, there was no way. Man. Say they didn't do first person shooter. Could he have gotten out of this?
He didn't have to respond to like that. That's the funny thing. But I mean, it was certain things I feel like said and like that. I'm like, no, he is outright talking about you.
For all the dogs getting buried, he had.
No, It was certain
Well,
lines.
he could have not, though. He could have been like, "I'm bigger than this."
He
could have used "I'm bigger than this."
He could have slid away from this whole thing. It would have looked crazy,
It would have
but
looked wild. But we would have gotten over it.
It wouldn't have looked nearly as crazy as he looks now.
A minor, it's still A minor is like dog. Like bowing out would have been way easier than A minor. Never a classroom, a band, a bar, them screaming A minors never gonna not hurt.
No, it's just too much other. There's too many other nuances to this as well. Like, Kendrick telling him like, "Nah, I know what you're gonna do before you do it," and then he knew what he was gonna do before he did it at every turn. Him like, "Hey, what if I got people over there working for you?" And turns out that might be true. Look real spooky, man.
It's the horror villain, Phil. Like he's telling you, "I'm gonna haunt you," and he haunted him.
Yeah. Send us your super chats.
Yeah.
Because we'll end up talking about this for another 20-30 minutes.
Seriously.
Send us your super chats, humperchats at humperchats.com/Fightful. I don't know. We talked about it in a group chat. I went to see Sinners, and I was well fed culturally. Shout out to Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan. These guys don't miss when they get together. I feel like they're our generation of Spike and Denzel. They just don't miss. And man, what a great movie. What a great movie just on like its own merits as like a horror movie and the way that they blended genres. But man, as somebody
IP, like that's great. Love it.
Yeah, but as somebody that, my grandparents are from Mississippi and they migrated to Chicago and everything about that, blues music being intermixed in this, I loved everything about it.
Yeah, sitting there and taking in all those emotions of like it's starting with the black church and like going back to those Sunday mornings of being dragged to a Baptist church just felt like, oh, this is, you could feel like the energy throughout your body coursing and like throughout the movie of it just building and building of moments that we heard about or we've experienced or our family experienced, and seeing those things all kind of encompassed and it not really getting into the horror part of it until like pretty deep into the movie is like there's so many things that I was just like, damn, like life is crazy.
Yeah, really great movie. Could not recommend it enough. I don't want to talk about it too much. I don't want to spoil bits about it. Just go see it.
Yeah. And on a big screen that your butt moves with.
Yeah.
Let's get into a couple super chats. Of course, appreciate you guys always supporting. Appreciate you guys sticking around for our basketball and hip hop talk. I'm sure you guys just want to hear about releases. So let's move forward.
Yeah. Go figure. We want to talk about good things in the world and not people losing their jobs.
People like, nah, we don't want to hear about this. You guys are being positive. Leave that alone. Let's get into the shit. The homie Deontay Soigné starts us out with a very generous super chat. Appreciate you, Deontay. Tam Nakano, forever love and thank you. But what's up, my boys? Good to see y'all. A lot has been going on. I just want to say bless y'all. Went to Dynamite and Collision. Great times. All love.
Yeah. What a good collision to go to. I'm sure that was a great time. Great card. I just some of the stuff we saw in Dynamite, which we'll get into Dynamite talk in a bit, but like the Okada and Omega stuff, I'm just like, I can't not be there in person for this match. I've waited too long for this match to happen in America, to be able to see one of these matches in person. I will be there. I've already booked my ticket to Texas, so I will be there.
This ain't Texas. I'm going to definitely be there. Seeing them facing off still gets the vibe, still get the love. I'm jealous, Deontay, but I'm happy that you got to experience that because I'm sure it was an amazing time. Deontay also says, I do want to shout y'all because y'all have kept the last month of mine easier to deal with. Feel myself again, always, forever. Y'all the best vibes, man. Deontay, it's always love. Thank you so much. Appreciate you always being here for support. Appreciate you always being here and excited and watching so many wrestling shows. I don't even understand how you have the time and the space for it. All love. I hope things continue to improve, and I hope that it's great for you.
Yeah.
The homie Mr. Best in the World 5 says, do you guys like 4-2 Doug?
Yeah, no, I know his music. I don't He's got a podcast, right? I haven't checked it out, but I think he has a podcast.
I haven't heard too much from him actually.
Yeah,
it's a little beyond my genres. You guys know kind of hip hop I'll be listening to. I'm old.
Yeah, I think he does both. I think he has a podcast, but yeah, I'm not up on it. Like I've heard some of his music, but I'm not up on. I can't say that I'm like this huge fan.
No. Same here. Appreciate you, Mr. Best in the World. Jay Hayes says, "Sorry, I can't give more. Down bad after giving Mercedes all my money."
Bro, people getting upset about that whole thing, like this is terrible, and I was like, ugh. When I saw it, I was like, ooh, wow, why would you want to do that? But also, you don't have to give her any money.
Like I was like, not for me. I'm not gonna give Mercedes $99 for a text message, whatever the thing is. But like, if people do, I totally understand. Like, people are subscribed to all kind of different subscription services and things that connect them. People are subscribed to all kinds of subscription services and all kinds of different websites. So, you know, I'm not judging anybody who, you know, gets sends their money away. People, the crew, Phil, they want to be connected to Mercedes, and if the crew wants, the crew gets.
They're trying to get that. They want that one-on-one connection with her that is not really real. Real. But you know, I don't know.
Get a couple of these scheduled texts. Hey guys.
No, they're trying to get the Nokia record off. Who's calling my phone?
Hey guys, this is Mercedes. Thanks for being a part of. Hey, the greatest of all time. Y'all ain't gonna let me. I'll never slander Mercedes. No. That's my homegirl. You spend your $99 with the homegirl.
Nah,
the GOAT.
Never slandering Mercedes, man.
The GOAT. I love her. The best of all time. Better than your favorite, Denise. I hate that I'd be fighting with Denise because Denise fights for Bianca Belair. Like, she thinks Bianca Belair is the greatest of all time. So I'll be like, you don't make me fight against you, Denise.
Listen, love Bianca, but Mercedes is Mercedes, man.
I'll be trying to say, Phil.
Yeah.
Like, Bianca's so good. Amazing. GOAT. Like, as far as right now in WWE, killer. But like Mercedes.
The part of the reason people think Bianca is a GOAT is because of the Mercedes match.
They don't be hearing me though, Phil. They do not be hearing me though. I'm trying to tell you. I'm like, well, she doesn't. She will get there eventually, but she got there faster because she main evented with Mercedes. You know,
bro. Once Mercedes wrestles in Arena Mexico, these conversations are going to be different, man.
Yeah,
very different.
Way different. It's over for y'all. That's gonna be sick too. That's gonna be so good. Appreciate you, Jay Hayes. That's hilarious. Mercedes the GOAT. We'll probably get into some more Mercedes talk here. Busby, the respected madman, says 5/3/24 through 5/5/24 will go down as the craziest days in hip hop. 1 year later, Kendrick is in God mode and Aubrey is pure mortal. Money in the Bank was that weekend, and I gave no damns that day. LOL.
Yeah. I'm
I
sure.
Honestly wish the interview was DJ Head, Maul, and Busby. We really would have got down to it. We really would have got down to brass tacks, as they say, Phil.
Nah, because he would have stopped the whole conversation with some of the stuff that Maul was saying. The thing I will give DJ Head credit on is he would sit there and listen to what he was saying and hear how crazy it was, and he would just rebut with just a reasonable response. He didn't go like, bro, what are we talking about?
It was
like,
never a point where like, you're a dumb idiot, Maul.
Yeah. I don't know that I could have been that patient with him for that conversation.
No. There was one point where DJ Head was just laughing hysterically, and I was just like, this guy.
No, yeah, there were certain answers that he was giving, and he was just sitting there laughing, and it's like, yeah.
But yeah, if Maul would have been if Busby would have been in the middle there, I think that really would have hammered it home.
He kind of flexed on him a little bit too, and he low key told everybody that Drake's not really a friend in front of him, and I don't think he caught it because he was like, "How long have y'all been friends?" And you know, Maul was dancing like he danced throughout the entire episode of Well, I've known him since I first met him in 2009. He was like, no. How long have y'all had a relationship? How long have y'all been like? How long have y'all had a rapport? And he kept dancing. He was like, maybe about 2 years. And he was like, see, this is the difference. These are people I've been friends with for 18 years, and I was like,
Maul said 2 years. That's riding for a guy like this that hard that you've only really known for 2 years. It's like putting your reputation on the line that often on your podcast in front of millions of people, Phil, for a fool you knew for 2 years is crazy.
I mean, that's essentially what DJ Head was saying without saying it, but I don't think Maul caught that.
He couldn't hear it. Yeah, he wasn't trying to hear that though.
Yeah.
Like you've been to war. You were going to war for this guy. Like you were one of his soldiers, and like Drake will just throw you to you're yesterday's trash. He don't care.
Yeah. When he done with you, he'll be done with you.
We've seen it.
I mean, to be fair, the same thing happened to Drake because it's a lot of people that were big Drake guys, and then when Not Like Us happened, they were over there.
Crip walking on stage at the crypto arena. Good times, great memories. Laurent Forrest says, man, y'all kept me sane last week. I was stuck in the Orlando airport all day due to flight delays. I appreciate you guys as always.
Yeah.
Woo! As someone who had my flight canceled going to Vegas, Laurent, and I'm still paying for it. I hate you guys. I commend you. I hope that it wasn't the longest day of all time. Sometimes them airport days could be like
the worst.
The time doesn't move. You're like, damn, it's only been 5 minutes. I feel like I've been here for 20 hours.
Yeah. No.
And definitely a Grapsody podcast will get you through because that's what we do.
Yeah. Appreciate you. Yeah. There's nothing worse sometimes than a terrible commute, man.
Pop in 2 Grapsody episodes and that's the day right there. There you go. Appreciate you, Laurent. Appreciate everybody for the super chats for now. Y'all are dope. Y'all are great.
Yeah, we've got some humper chats. We got one from Rafael Garcia. He says LeBron James, Azula Blue Flames. Someone got suspended for small claims. Lakers lost in 5. The problem is size. When Rudy Gobert had a career performance anyway, wrestling, Shingo really did try to kill Shooter, and Peas and Rice Gabe killed Ren. Gobert. Yeah, Gobert was that SpongeBob meme of I'm pussy. Like,
yep.
Sure.
Me?
I'm walking around on this floor, and a lot of y'all ain't that tall.
Mm-mm.
You sure?
Yeah.
You sure you want to put that guy at 4? I don't think you want him over here, bro. He's not playing like he did 10 years ago.
Nah, Gobert was acting like he was a bully in this series. You know what? Look, get out of my way.
Y'all sure? Y'all want to put that guy over here?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think y'all want that.
Mm-hmm.
You sure? Yeah, very funny. Watching Jeff Teague, who was there, who has been on a court with LeBron, sitting there saying like, "Nah, I'm ready for him to retire," because it sucks seeing him like this. He's going through the motions, and it's like
the way that Anthony Edwards was jawing at him the whole series, and just I was like, "All right, you know what? Can you see it in real time? What's happening here?"
Yeah, and that's why bits of it are funny to me. But that's why when people are like, "I hate him," I'm like, guys, if I really hated him as much as y'all think I do, I would be 1,000 times worse.
Mm-hmm.
Because man, everything because really, I don't think he played good in the fourth quarter of several of those games. But I don't think that's the sole reason why they lost, and I don't want to make it out to be that's the reason why they lost. But also, this ain't 2013 no more. You can't just plug and play. You can't just go and get the best player for somebody else's team, plug him in, and then you guys are gonna run through. No, you're not the same guy no more.
Mm-mm. You need like 4 more guys at this point, not just one.
No, you need an actual team. You need an actual coach, and
you can't be the leader and head and captain anymore. We can't run our team through LeBron James. That's not how this works.
Yeah, and the thing that I think is the most funny about all of this, I got a good laugh out of it the night they lost. The Lakers really came into this season and did everything that this guy wanted. at every turn. They went drafted his son. They went got the coach he wanted. They went got the player that he said that he wanted to play with. If he had any chance to play with anybody, they went got him. They signed back all of the guys that he wanted them to sign back. They did everything he wanted.
Yep.
And they still lost in the first round.
Still lost in the first round. He spent all that money. He made all them demands, and they were like, "Yeah, we got you, LeBron. You can have whatever you want," and still lost in the first round.
Bro, I saw people trying to jump on Palenka, and I was like, nah, dog. Palenka pulled off the best trade of the year. It doesn't matter how he pulled it off. It doesn't matter that Nico made a bad trade. They pulled off the best trade of the year. Yeah. And they still lost.
Yeah, still lost.
I don't want to hear no more about that, dog.
Palenka did his job. He was like, "Look, I gave you all the pieces, brother. What are you gonna do with them?" And he didn't do anything with them.
The other thing that before I move on effectively from basketball into the next Humper chat, the other thing that I thought was funny is I get this thing all the time of you don't even really have a reason to not like him. You're just a Bulls fan and you're just a Jordan guy, so that's why you don't like him. No, I find this guy and his teammates and all the antics around him to be incredibly annoying. And all of this was in full display in this series. The way that they cry about calls every time. Luke is one of the worst at this. LeBron crying about calls constantly, flopping, rolling all over the floor. I hate it. And it's something about this guy's orbit where everybody gets around him and they get this chip on their shoulder and they think everybody in the world is picking on them. It's so fucking annoying. And so JJ in all of these press conferences getting defensive. I'm like, bro, y'all got to cut it out. All this throwing tantrums like babies. Get out there and play basketball and win, dog. Like, I hate it, man.
You knew what this was going to be, too. Like, y'all are buddy-buddy. Like, you thought this was going to be a cakewalk. You thought that the media wasn't going to be on their ass. You thought that all the players weren't going to try to tear you guys down at every point. What did you think this was going to be? You're going to the Lakers with LeBron James, his son. They're doing this gigantic trade. Like, what did you think this was going to be?
I hate it. It's everything that I've hated.
It's the aggressive nature. I'm like, dog, if you would have just played basketball, none of this would be happening. I don't understand why y'all are so mad.
Yeah, just the way that the media treats him and just the way that the Lakers are treated in general.
These guys did a podcast and conspired to play basketball and coach basketball together. Like, what? Why?
Yeah, and JJ's been doing this for a while. I hated that Clippers team as well because they were big whiners when Chris Paul was over there. JJ was on that team. I couldn't stand it. Stop all the damn whining and play, man.
Oh, get on the court.
Yeah.
Shut up and dribble.
From Tony P, happy May the 3rd to Petty of the Week, Hall of Famer K. Dot for on this marvelous day, he begun the downfall of Aubrey Graham by waking us up at 6:16 a.m. in LA time, giving us scary bedtime stories called Meet the Grahams at Night. Bravo, sir. As for this week's Petty of the Week, host choice, Petty of the Week this week.
That's a good one.
Is it It might be for a tame pick. It might be Anthony Edwards for him going out there and saying, man, they kept saying Lakers in 5. Then we got up 3-1. They said Lakers in 7. Meanwhile, he's just trying to enjoy life. He's telling you guys his favorite movie is Matilda. He's trying to enjoy life.
It could be Anthony Edwards walking around afterwards. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, it's Anthony Edwards, I think.
Yeah. Just because it's against the Lakers who deserve it.
Yeah.
And I'm California, but you know.
Yeah. I find the entire culture around this whole thing annoying. And that's why it makes it even more gratifying when they lose. They're so fun to root against. And they never disappoint when they lose because then they start acting like big babies and throwing tantrums. It makes it even funnier.
It's great. And like I said, him limping off and them having an injury report. I'm like, he's out. We don't need to know what his timetable is. He ain't about to come back and play no more.
Look, man, if he's really injured, that's messed up. But the timing of this is very funny. It reminds me of him getting swept by the Warriors that year and him coming out with that cast on his hand. One of the funniest things I've ever seen, man.
No, it's my knee. All right, you got
it. Yeah. Let's see. From Van Twinblade, he says, "Fuck the Fed. Stupid motherfuckers cannot shoot themselves in the cannot shoot themselves in the foot. Coming in hot, man. He also says, I want to see Shaina and Stardom killing some Joshis. Yamashita, Maki, and Shaina tagging as a trios would be great. Yeah, I'm very curious to see what Shaina does. I think that there's still such a big market for her. And the wild thing about it is watching her during WrestleMania weekend and watching what I felt like was a pretty safe match at Bloodsport. I'm like, man, this is why I would like to see her elsewhere cutting loose. It's unfortunate that we're getting there this way, but I still think she has so much more to offer at wrestling. And I just want to see her do her style of wrestling and, just do things on her terms, man. Because I don't think we've seen that in years.
There's nobody, I'm trying to think across the board, still in wrestling that works like Shaina. There's nobody that that checks the box that she does, because there's a lot of people on the indies in mainstream wrestling that try to replicate what she does and who she is, but she really has the pedigree, she really has the background, and now she has even more experience to show that she's way different. I remember watching her before she went to WWE. She was pretty prominent in West Coast indies. Like I watched her in Gilroy, California in front of like 50 people, and like just her presence and the way that she worked, I could tell that she was going to be something. She still has that presence and she still has that. So I think that she's going to be fine, and I'm actually kind of excited to see what she does post this, because with her style, she could do what she does for like 20 more years.
Yes. See, from Tony P says, after the NBA, I wish your Bulls were facing the Cavs instead of my Heat. Monday was embarrassing, but we've been embarrassed worse as a team in the playoffs by our 07 Bulls. The Lakers were who we thought they were. Yeah, I do not envy the position of having to play the Cleveland Cavs, because pretty sure the Bulls would have gotten embarrassed in similar fashion.
Anybody against the Cavs that's what it would have been.
It's gonna be a rough night at the office, man. From Current Veronica is not good. He says, Credit Boys should have kept everyone and just released Bailey. Seriously, though, are y'all pulling up to Resurgence? And is Reg really going to Mexico City? I don't think I'm going to Resurgence. I was going to try to go, but it's coming up really fast. It's next week. I don't think I'm going to be able to make that.
Oh, yeah, I was looking at the date. I was like, what's the date? I'm trying to go to Bakersfield for Mother's Day. I might go there. I'm doing my schedule out loud. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think I might be at Resurgence.
Yeah, I wanted to go. I don't know. I don't think I'm going at this point.
But also, I don't know. Money's crazy. Right. So,
yeah. Just coming off a big, crazy, expensive trip to Vegas, and I'm already trying to make plans to go to Texas. So,
still trying to recover from Vegas. I've been every day fighting to recover from Vegas. So, the verdict's out. But Mexico's verdict is also still out. All these things are just coming so quickly.
Yeah. See, from Tony P, he says, as for Houston Golden State games, roller coaster outcome of Game 7 will be sign of how much Golden State will blow up this team. In WWE land, they were there this week and starting to seem like masochists when it comes to their PR. Yeah, I can comfortably say now, and I've been kind of saying this for months, I just think AEW is a better weekly show. I had actually forgotten that I told Kate that I would I would fill in for her on a SmackDown review. So I had to watch everything live last night, and I was struggling, bro. I was like, this show is just too long. A lot of this stuff is dragging.
It's still 3 hours?
Yeah. And I mean, at least last week's episode had that great TLC match. I thought like the Randy and Cena stuff last week was better. This week felt like a lot of filler, man. It just was, it was rough.
It's unfortunate. I think that was the first ever 5-star WWE TV mainstream main roster TV match, which is pretty insane. Shout out to those guys for cooking out there. Everybody that's seen it has talked positively about it.
Great
Even
match.
more reason every single time and step and moment that goes by of why it should have been on WrestleMania. But choices were made.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people say that it wouldn't have gotten the same amount of time on WrestleMania, so it ended up working out. Yeah, but also that was a WrestleMania caliber match, and like when you think about like what TLC 2 was for WrestleMania 17, this should have been it. This should have marked the return of TLC to WrestleMania, especially because TLC is not a pay-per-view anymore, and you could have really planted the flag here. I think it was
TLC 2 is on my top 5 WWE matches of all time for that reason. Like it could have just been on Raw, it could have just been on that, but the fact that it was on WrestleMania and these guys got to go absolutely insane, no matter how much time it was, is the thing. So if these guys were given 12 minutes and they just went absolutely insane on the WrestleMania stage, it would have hit even harder, you know?
Yeah. More from Tony P says Raw was lackluster. NXT has an identity crisis, and SmackDown put me to sleep, but not before the news of the release happened. Shocker was how much they gutted the women's tag talent and NXT roster again. Yeah, that is a good place to get into some of these releases. Before SmackDown last night, we started getting the releases trickling in. And I could kind of tell that the releases were coming because you could see how certain people were tweeting, and it seemed like people were starting to get their goodbyes in. And so you could kind of see it happening. Also, this is kind of the time period where they start doing the releases every year. It's usually around WrestleMania season. Well, post WrestleMania season. So kind of saw it coming, unfortunately.
Yeah, WWE is so different now. Like when releases happen, it's way different than when they happened 10 years ago. Like watching Raw, SmackDown, NXT, LFG, Evolve, there's so many wrestling shows. Every time you open your phone, WWE is talking about signing a new crop of people, NIL. There's so many wrestlers on this roster. When these wrestlers got released, and they could be wrestlers immediately slotted into their position. Like they said that the women's tag team division was gutted. It wasn't, because they have 30 more people ready to slot into those positions. I think that might be part of the issue, is this like talent hoarding thing is starting to become a thing. 3 years ago, WWE did this talent initiative signing to keep people from going to AEW. So they signed a whole bunch of people just so they wouldn't go to AEW. And then now they have all these different streams and flowing of people coming in. So now the releases are going to feel like even easier to them, even if it's not like that with the talent. You know what I mean? So I feel like this is the norm. Like this has been going on for like 20 years. At post WrestleMania, they see how the lay of the land has gone out, and then they do releases. People blaming this on TKO has been so interesting, Phil, because I'm like, do you guys know who Cody Rhodes is? Do you guys know who Drew McIntyre is? Their whole stories are built off being released by WWE before TKO was even a part of this. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the big exodus at one point, the big day of the releases, that happened under Vince. That was before the merger. And, it's multiple things happening at once. I agree with you that I think, unfortunately, this is going to keep happening because they've set up so many pipelines. It used to be, all right, we have our developmental, and that's
I forgot about ID too. Shit.
Yeah, so it used to be we have our developmental, that's the main pipeline. NXT UK to the main roster. But now you've got NXT, you've got WWID, you've got Evolve, and now you're doing the partnerships. You're doing a partnership with TNA. You just acquired AAA, and you're starting to work with Noah loosely. You're working with Marigold. And so you have so many pipelines at this point. It's like, where are you making room for talent coming from all these places when you already have such a big roster, and you already have a assembly line for your developmental? Where are you making room to do all of this? And so it was always going to get this way. It was always going to be complicated. And of course, with TKO, the merger is only 2 years old, right?
Yeah, it's pretty new. I think it's 2 years. It was like
it was right after WrestleMania in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was connected to WrestleMania in Philly. I forget if it was right before or right after that they did it, but it's been about 2 years. Yeah.
So I mean, and barely 2 years old. So you're
Barely.
still getting a lot of stuff from TKO and what comes with mergers all the time.
Mhm.
Every time a company gets merged, there are going to be a massive layoffs. There are going to be, people losing their jobs, unfortunately. And I think some people are taking that, like you said, and putting all the blame of TKO coming in and changing things too much. But I don't think that's all that's happening here, guys. I think some of it is TKO, but I
Mhm.
think this is also just how WWE does things. They've been doing things this way for a while. And I just think it's crazy that people keep trying to divorce Triple H from a lot of the ways that
Mhm.
Vince did business, but he's shown you multiple times that he does very similar things to Vince. He may
Right.
not do all the things that Vince did, but
Mhm.
he came from that same tree. He studied under that same tree. So
He's using a lot of the tactics he learned still. Like it's like,
yeah.
oh well, this has worked for this long. Let's just continue it, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, unfortunately, releases are part of business. I wish WWE would at least let contracts expire and then just not renew them.
Mhm.
Signing a contract and you could still just be released at any point is crazy.
Mhm.
And that's just, I mean, it's tough because, I get the argument against guaranteed contracts as well. But
Mhm.
again, man, signing a contract and they can just tell you at any point, we're going to release you and not honor your contract. But you can't do the opposite. As a wrestler, you can't just be
You
like,
can't
I'm
do
not
that.
going to honor my contract. It's crazy. Like, it's such a roll of a dice. And that's unfortunate for people that are not employees. They're contractors.
Independent contractors. The most egregious bit about hearing about all these releases, and we want to, of course, send love out to everybody that's been released in the last couple of days, talent and personnel together. We just were talking last week about being mad at WrestleMania because they brought out fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin to tout numbers. And all they ever do, Phil, is tout numbers. We're killing it. We've had the most successful this. We've had 1 billion sellouts. We make all this money. But then they frame this as cost cutting. Like, you cutting costs with all the money you're making, you don't need to cut costs. You know what I mean? Like, so for them to try to frame it as that, I think was the most egregious part to me, because they keep telling us how much money they make every second, hand over fist.
Yeah, I think that's the nasty part of all of this is that you keep telling us that business is better than ever. You're doing record gates. The the cost to go to a WWE show is going up and up and up. And so where is that money going if it's not trickling down to your workers? If the
Right.
wrestlers are not making more money, and you can say, all right, we still got to cut costs, so that means we're gonna let people go. Or you have stories like the Stephanie Vaquer thing where it's like, well, I can't match the money somebody else was gonna offer you because we don't have that money. It's like, well, wait a minute. You keep telling us business is better than ever, so why don't you have the money to match that contract? Or
Right.
why don't you have the money to offer certain people contracts that come through there that went somewhere else? It
Mhm.
doesn't make sense. And that goes
They
back
don't match
to
up.
yeah, and that goes back to like some of the stuff around Mercedes and market value and some of that stuff. It's like, yeah, the money is there when it's somebody you want to pay.
Right.
But
Yes.
when it's somebody you don't want to pay, and if it's somebody, because I saw the clip of SRS saying it last night, like these are all people that were released. If Triple H wanted them to be there, they would still be there.
It would be. Yeah, yeah. And that's where I get kind of things get kind of iffy and wishy-washy for me, because we've heard these stories for years in WWE of people being essentially lowballed, and WWE frames it as, we're taking the chance. It could be this or it could be that. They told specifically, I think of Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens, of like telling them like, it might not work out for you. You might go to NXT and we might not never see you again. So we're going to pay you what we think you're worth, even though they're worth so much more.
Yeah.
But they frame it as like, you have to earn your position, but they could totally afford it. And it just gets so frustrated because they sell these wrestlers these other dreams, but then on TV, they're like, actually, we're making $1 gazillion. We're making all these deals. We just did this new things. We have these sponsorships. And it's like, well, where is that going? When I hear about the SummerSlam ticket sales, and there's $40,000 tickets and there's these crazy packages, but then the next day they're releasing a bunch of people for cutting costs, I'm like, this looks crazy.
Yeah. And when you look at just like the partnerships and how they're doing things, like You're getting
keep forgetting about the partnerships, Phil. That's a crazy element too, man.
Like when you look at all of this stuff in totality,
Mm-hmm.
you're getting free promotion through the WWID stuff, through indie promotions, and you're essentially giving these indie workers contracts that is essentially exposure. Like we're hearing that they give them something, they pay them something, but it's not what they could make as like a contracted wrestler.
Right.
So you're still paying them crumbs, but getting the exposure of your name being attached to them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing with like the TNA partnership. Yeah, what a great deal of you get to use one of their hottest stars, not even one of their hottest star in Joe Hendry, but you don't have to pay him at the level that he probably deserves for the height of popularity he's at. And then you could also tell your wrestlers like, well, you know, we want to pay you, but we can't because of this. And it's like, well, wait a minute, you got a pretty sweet deal with the way that you handle contracts and everything in the first place.
I thought that the TNA stuff is starting to become really interesting too, Phil, because some of these people released were some of the people that they were sending over there to TNA. So I was like, this partnership is it's so interesting how it works back and forth between what WWE gets and what TNA gets. And so for them to still be treated like the little redheaded stepchild and be okay with it on the TNA side, I think is super interesting, but I totally understand with the position that they're in. This is all just really unfortunate that,
yes,
I mean, there's wrestlers that know, because this is a yearly thing. There's wrestlers that some of these wrestlers knew what was coming. So they were sitting and waiting around. We saw some of their tweets and some of the lingo that they were using, that they were just waiting for the call, unfortunately. And that's a crazy space to exist in. Like, a lot of these wrestlers really do want to work. They do want to be given the opportunities. They do want to be able to shine, and they're just not. That's another thing that frustrates me with the shit too sometimes, is when they're like, I'm gonna show them that I'm worth. Like, fuck those people, fuck them, fuck that, fuck what they think, what they think your worth should be. They're gonna spend their entire career trying to show fucking Triple H that they're worth it. No, you're worth it without them. If you work the indies for the rest of your life, you're still a great wrestler, you're still a great person. You don't have to be at WrestleMania and main event to be worth it as a wrestler. I just want wrestlers to know that I always frustrate, like, I have to fight to get back to the WWE. You do not.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they bank on. That for a lot of people, the dream is to work there, and so they'll accept some of the stuff that comes with it,
The bullshit.
because you know people, they want to work there. But yeah, the official list we got of the releases are Caden Carter, Dakota Kai, Braun Strowman, Shayna Basler, Katana Chance, Gigi Dolan, Cora Jade, Riley Osborne, Eddie Thorpe, Gallus, and Javier Benraw. I've seen people saying that Shotzi got released as well, but I haven't seen that confirmed anywhere, so I don't want to jump to conclusions just yet and say she was released. But there are people saying that she got released. Still waiting to see that if that one's confirmed. But yeah, just straight away, I think the biggest surprise for me is Dakota, because Dakota was just in the Intercontinental Championship tournament. She made it all the way to the finals. And then you had her just last week doing all of the press for WrestleMania. She was in the junket. She was doing all of the stuff to promote WrestleMania. You sent her out there knowing she wasn't wrestling, and she still did all the promotion, and then you let her go a week later. That's crazy. And then, I mean, just like the ties to all of the people from Damage Control, like how they're treating Bailey right now, and just like, it looks crazy.
Yeah, that probably was the one that kind of shined through the brightest, seeing all the releases of, just because of what you mentioned. She was legit recently just featured in a high profile thing, something that's establishing a division and all these things for her. She had so many unfortunate stop and start moments with injuries and things and being involved and stuff, but she always had that fan base. She always had the people behind her. She always had something about her that kept her on TV. I think that she's going to cook anywhere that she goes, but that probably was the most egregious. The people are saying that Braun Strowman's is the most egregious, and I don't think so, because like in the long run, Braun doesn't have a long time to go. Like he looks like his knees are hurting very bad a lot of the times that he's out there. I don't think that they're investing their future in Braun Strowman. Not to say that he doesn't have a place in the wrestling business, but I just think that for WWE, that's probably not what the area that they're looking into.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough for big men.
Regardless,
Their knees and their feet start to give very early. And so, the shelf life for big athletes in general, not just wrestlers, is really short. I mean, we see it a lot in basketball.
Right.
And so it's unfortunate. I think it's crazy that they re-signed him the way that they did, and then it never really led to anything. And so that's kind of why I thought it was surprising. Because you just made the point of bringing him back, and then I thought that you at least brought him back with a plan in mind, and it's very clear they just brought him back to pay him less, and then they just released him anyway. So I don't really get that. Cora Jade was kind of surprising with the way that Cora Jade was made into a fixture on NXT. It kind of felt like they were grooming her with Roxanne to be like the next crop of women to come to the main roster. So that was a big surprise. Gallus was just talking last year about how they helped The Rock train to get ready for the WrestleMania match, and they're on the chopping block as well. A lot of this is, I mean, the way people are talking about how this guts the tag division, of course, because Caden and Katana are one of the few established tag teams that were left. I don't know if I would say that this guts the division, but I do think that this is one of those like deflating moments that shows you like they don't really have any plan for the tag division.
Right.
Because at every turn where they establish tag teams that are just tag teams, not single wrestlers that don't have anything else going, and so put them together and make them a tag team for now. Tag team that have been packaged as a tag team for months, over a year, like the Iconics or Isla Dawn and Alba Fire, like those kind of teams. The shelf life on them, they don't keep them together long enough for it to matter. And I think that's the major issue with the tag division.
They're just a vehicle to get to a single star. It's never about the tag team.
Yeah, I think that's the major issue with the tag division. There aren't enough teams put together specifically to be a tag team and compete in the tag division. And I think that's twofold, because they don't allow tag teams to develop there, and they don't sign wrestlers as tag teams. Like for the men, you sign wrestlers specifically to be a tag team. And they don't do the same thing with the women. Like I kept saying for the longest, there are women tag teams that they could have signed. Why didn't you get the Renegade Twins at one point and make them a part of your tag division? You're one of the few American companies that has a women's tag division, and you've got a team in them that you could have brought in.
Sea Stars were at one point before they broke up. They could have been brought in too.
There were multiple women that worked as tag teams on the indies that you could have signed and made them the fixture of your tag team division and built around them just being a team, not trying to split them up and do anything else. That was the same thing with Tegan as well. You could have packaged Tegan and Dakota as a tag team and kept them a tag team, but there was never an attempt to do that. And I think when people keep saying like what this means for the tag division, I don't think this is like the final straw. I just think that this is kind of like the glaring sign. If now is not the time where they're gonna really keep teams together and really see the benefit in keeping women in tag teams, then it's never really gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think they keep telling us at every turn that these tag team championships are just the vehicle to get to something else from off rip with Mercedes and Bailey. You know what I mean? Like it's always been kind of what those tag team champions represent. And I think like we get moments where we feel like it's going to be better than that, or they're going to put some emphasis on them, and people want them to put some emphasis on them, and they just don't. And it's really unfortunate. They just will not make a real tag team. Like they're like, this is a makeshift tag team division. That's what it is. Like if it's a makeshift team, you're going to win. But if you're a real team, we're going to release you.
Yeah, they don't have enough consistent tag teams. They don't have enough rivalries between tag teams,
Rivalries, yeah.
and that's really the problem. And I think it said a lot too that you just did the storyline at WrestleMania. You put the belts on Becky and Lyra, and then you made that a vehicle for a heel turn, and then just put the belts right back on Liv, and then Liv going away to film a movie. So what does that mean for your tag division and those belts? Like, do you care about this or not? Like, I just
It's a
don't.
wild timeline, man. There's so many moments where I'm like, what at the WrestleMania, I was like, okay, you brought Becky back, interesting, and then they win, interesting, and then the next night she turns interesting, and then like, oh, actually, Liv isn't gonna be here. Well, I'm like, wait, what? Put these belts on somebody that are gonna defend these things. They always do stuff like that. They had them on Jade, and then she wasn't even wrestling half the time. They have them on this, and people are out. Just like, put this on somebody that's gonna defend these championships in a timely manner.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe when they bring Asuka and Kyrie back, they'll do Kabuki Warriors again.
Right.
I don't know, but it's just so disheartening that they can't get women's tag team wrestling right, because it's not that hard. And there are women that want to be a part of tag team wrestling. There are women that they wanted their sole purpose to be tag team wrestling, but it's not a focus. It's not an avenue for them. And that's a shame, because when you start the tag division, when you introduce mid-card belts, the whole point here is to create new opportunities for the women.
Exactly.
And so if they're not real opportunities, they're just optics, then what is the point? Which gets me to something I've been wanting to say for a long time. I've been wanting to say this for a long time, but I didn't want to come off as a certain way because I don't watch NXT. I think a lot of the progress that they tout of women from NXT, it's a little fraudulent.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little fraudulent because I think you've got enough women down there, and they put enough women on TV that you would think this is going to lead to all of these women having a real run on the main roster. The fact that they got rid of Jakara, and they have been using Jakara heavily. Same thing with Kaden and Katana, and now Cora too. It just feels like it's the same thing I've seen with the WWID thing, the NIL thing. It's a numbers game. You're gonna put a bunch of these women on TV for the optic, but only a few of them are actually gonna rise out of this and become something.
Exactly. I see, like, because with Katana and Kaden, like, they had big moments in like the Royal Rumble, or they're put them in like the Money in the Bank matches to do the big spots and kind of to fill the roles. But they're not going to win these matches. They're not the people that are there to win this. This is all about what's remaining of the four horsewomen. And like, we have our established new stars of Rhea and Bianca and Liv, and like, those are the people that are going to be getting these victories and that we're going to focus on.
I mean,
but we're going to fill this up with women's wrestlers. They're just not going to get the opportunities that the others are going to get.
If you look at the current situation, out of a year of them putting all these women on TV, presenting a lot of these women consistently, the women that they're going to push guaranteed are Stephanie Vaquera, Julia, Jordan Grace. Those are the guarantees. And they spent a year building up this women's division. And I don't feel like there's a guarantee for any of the other women you would think. Like,
and none of those are homegrown stars. You said 3 stars that were established somewhere else
that are all like indie wrestlers or like Japanese wrestlers.
Right.
I mean, Sol Ruka, like, as much as they've put into Sol Ruka or Kaylani, it's like, all right, we'll get to moving them up. Like, I could see them really getting behind trying to make Lash into the future of the division. But again, I think that, like, if I had to guess, out of that era of their wrestlers from down there, it's going to be Roxanne that's the surefire hit. And that's another one. Roxanne isn't homegrown. She's not homegrown. She already was built. She was already
established.
She already came and established from the reality wrestling stuff and the Ring of Honor stuff. So it just feels like they are just playing the numbers game. And, you know, out of all of the numbers of those that you try to attempt to build into something, you're going to get a Tiffany every now and then.
Yeah.
Or, you're going to get, somebody that rises to the top. But I just feel like the way that they continue to act like NXT is the place for women's wrestling and that's where women should go to excel, it still feels like there's a ceiling on it.
There is. Damn, all that stuff you were just talking made me think how amazing it is that Naomi is still cooking though. Like for her to outlast everything that you just described and all the different roller coasters and ups and downs and still be there to cook an actual homegrown WWE star is such an amazing feat for her. And she's getting better as the days go on, which is also crazy.
I mean, she lasted during what a lot of people consider like the worst period for women's wrestling over there. She lasted through the Divas era. She was a big part of like the Total Bellas and Total Diva stuff, and she's still there killing it. I mean, she made it all the way into the women's revolution and is still taken seriously. She had to run over there as a knockout. Like, not everybody is allowed to have that kind of career, man. And I think that's even more reason why she should get her flowers. Man, at the end of SmackDown last night when she was holding that belt up, I was like, dog, put that belt on Naomi, man. like stop playing with it, dog. Put that belt on Naomi, man.
My bad. I didn't mean to venture off. I was just thinking of how amazing Naomi is, and she definitely is. But I think you're onto something here, Phil, with this NXT thing and the optics and thinking of everything with the Evolve and ID and how their systems moving now and the dreams that they're selling to the people on the way up. It's like, how do you stand out? How do you really earn a spot that feels like there's already carved?
Yeah, and I mean, the proof is in the pudding. When you look at all of the women that they started building into something that were a big part of the NXT ecosystem, and they were never really allowed to come to the main roster and turn into anything. I mean, Indy Hartwell.
Yep.
I mean, at the beginning of NXT 2.0, two women's acts were constantly on TV: Indy Hartwell and Toxic Attraction. Gigi Dolan is a part of these releases as well.
Yeah, damn.
None of it, like, you've made that such a big part of TV, and you've made that such a big sign for most people that was going to lead to them coming to the main roster and turning into something, and it never was allowed to develop into anything. They never really let Indy come up there and develop into anything. And same thing with Gigi. Gigi's been in two factions at this point, trying to do the same thing.
And both of them, the first one was really over. The second one was starting to give over. If they had more opportunities to really establish, I think it would have gotten back to where it needed to be. That's what's so interesting about this whole thing. Do you think it's just a women's wrestling problem? Because is it the same with the men's? I mean, when I think of like Mello, I mean, it's only like Braun Breaker that's really.
Braun was their big win from NXT 2.0, but in the way that they want us to think that era was a success of them completely changing their developmental, because remember, they changed from the indie wrestler pipeline to NXT to the main roster. They wanted to change to, okay, these are the NIL kids and, people that may not have a background in wrestling, but we can turn them into a wrestler. And that's why it's not that surprising that Brian was the guy that rose to the top. He comes from wrestling. His family was wrestlers. He's a second generation wrestler.
Like, even if he was NIL, his dad is fucking Rick Steiner. It's very different than just like some random football player.
His drive and his respect for the business is different. And so, yeah, of course, he's going to be the guy that rises up out of there.
Yeah, now that I think about it, it might be the same with the men too, because like who are the established people on the main roster now? I'm thinking of just like SmackDown yesterday is like Rey Fenix and Santos Escobar, like even people that have went through their NXT system are already established people before they got the thing.
Well, look at all of the ones that made it to the main roster. What do they have in common with Brian Breaker? Santos, also family in wrestling. Solo Sikoa, family and wrestling.
I'm hearing it. I'm seeing it now.
It's different because you're trying to sell me on that era
Yeah.
was changing the pipeline and changing, how they look for wrestlers. But yeah, also the people that rose out of that were either indie wrestlers or people that had a connection to the business already. And so it's just different. And I think all of this stuff, signing more indie wrestlers again, making a point to do the WWID stuff again and getting back in the market with indie wrestlers, it kind of is an admission that the NIL stuff was a failure.
That's what I feel like. I don't want to say it out loud, but like for them to cut, because there was one point they were like, we're actually done with all this indie shit. We don't even want that. We're just going to do the NIL. We're going to do our system and we're going to do that. But then like it felt like they were like, actually, we're going to do WWEID. And now we have Evolve and now we have all these things. And the focus hasn't been so much on the NIL shit anymore.
Yeah, because I think at one point they tried to go completely different route than AEW because AEW was the indie friendly promotion. They were, adjacent to all the indie promotions. They weren't trying to stop how other people did business, but they were bringing people in from that. But also they wanted to go so far left and go be so different. And I think they tried to do it too fast because the NIL project isn't a bad idea. No. I just don't think you can make that your sole way of bringing in talent. It should be.
I think that's what it was. I think they went into the PC one day and there was fucking 40 athletes that none of them had wrestling backgrounds, and they were like, well, you have to have the independent wrestler sprinkled in there too to help those people get acclimated with what pro wrestling is.
I think they got very confident because they had wins of athletes coming in and working out, like Bianca, right? Yeah. But Bianca is a diamond in the rough. Yeah. Not everybody is gonna do what Bianca did. I mean, and you struck gold with other things, like going all the way to Mark Henry. Like you had other situations where you've turned an athlete into a great wrestler, but that doesn't mean that
it's so rare that you're describing here, though. Like it doesn't, like if they sign 20 NIL people, they'll be lucky if one of them is like, they'll be lucky if they get an Obafemi. They'll be lucky if they get somebody like that out of that deal,
Yeah. That's not always going to work. And I know that they've tried to do this whole thing with celebrities and influencers, bringing them in and said, look, we can make anybody a wrestler. Kinda.
Yeah. There's a line.
Kinda. So yeah, I just think you gotta with where they are. I think the NIL thing wasn't a bad idea. It just shouldn't have been the main pipeline of wrestlers coming in. Exactly. It should have been varied. It should have been a part of your free agent signing. And I think they're seeing that now.
Pipeline, but not the pipeline. Like there should be people scouting over there. There should be people scouting in all aspects. But when they were like, now we only do that, that's when things got a little bit muddy.
Yeah. I think they figured that out pretty quickly. That seemed like a big Vince baby at one point that he really pushed for that. And then once Triple H got back in control, he's like, all right, man, get Regal back over here. Let's get back to scouting. Let's get the indie wrestlers in here. Let's get the wrestlers from Japan. Let's get back to it.
Get Gabe and Regal in here and let them have fun. And that's exactly what's been happening.
That's where we are. And so, yeah, some of this is unfortunate. I mean, all of it is unfortunate for the talent. Yeah. And I think it's going to be harder for some people to stand out, like we said, when there's so many avenues to get here. When it used to be just try out and go to the PC and try to get developmental, that's one thing. But now you've got people trying to get in from indie promotions through WWID, and you've got the TNA stuff, you've got AAA, and whatever else they're cooking up. That
I was gonna say, dog, you got to worry about if a streamer gets a hair up his ass to want to fucking
bro. A rapper or a celebrity coming in, it's I mean, it's the same thing with Rhonda a few years ago. Like if somebody with name already comes in, it's just like, my dream has always been a wrestler, you gotta worry. It's tough, man. So I get it. I get why at some point the people that it was their dream to show up and just wrestle, this was it, this is all I've ever wanted. I get why some of them were upset with the NIL thing, because it was like, well, wait a minute, like those people don't care about this like I care about it. They don't care about the business like I do. And
I remember them being mad at the wrestlers that were saying, I'm like, you guys are mad at wrestlers for being passionate about wrestling and mad at people don't feel the same as them. You guys are marks. I'm like, dog, this is
no, it's crazy that we've gone from that to people being like, what's wrong with Stephanie being passionate about going over? This was her dream. She wants to follow her dream. And so it's just crazy how the internet will always find a way to side with something when they feel like it.
Mm-hmm. Whatever fits their agenda, then they're like, yeah, that's what it is. I don't think that this is it, right? This isn't the I feel like on Monday it might get another round. I feel like that's how it's going to start to work now. Like we're going to get the Friday SmackDown round and then we're going to get like the Monday round. So I don't know what that means for the rest of the roster. What does this mean for wrestling? Like, because I saw a lot of people last night being like, don't you dare Tony Khan, and like, what's Tony Khan's track record of signing up? He doesn't sign all the people that WWE releases. When did this become a thing?
I just think it's a case-by-case thing, and I don't really like that aspect of the internet saying, don't you dare sign this person.
Like who did he sign from the last big crop of people that got released? Nobody.
But even if he did, why are we trying to stop someone from getting another avenue to work and potentially turning things around and going somewhere else and doing something different? I mean, I was one of the main people that was saying, I don't know where Ricochet fits over here. I feel like Ricochet gets lost in the shuffle. I was wrong. And we don't know when we can be wrong again about somebody else going somewhere else and completely changing the perception. So I don't really care for this idea of like, don't ever sign this guy. Like, who are you to decide that? Like, it just, people got to relax.
Because like Dakota could go to AEW and life could change. You know, I mean, she could have like this amazing turnaround. Shaina could go to AEW and fucking tear things down. We wouldn't know without it being a thing.
Exactly. So you never know. But with all of the names there, I think Dakota Kai makes the most sense of eventually getting signed because as we know, she was in talks with AEW the first time when her contract expired. And so I could easily see her getting in talks with AEW again. She clearly has people in other companies that are friends with her or fans of her work that are interested. So she's going to land on her feet. I think most of these wrestlers will, but Dakota Kai, like, she seems like the most obvious one that could end up in AEW.
I feel like everybody here is going to have a job, though. It's just wrestling works so different now. Even though WWE is trying to monopolize, there's still a lot of places for people to work, which is a great thing, you know?
I think Gigi Dolan, of course, before she went to NXT, she was doing all the stuff as Priscilla Kelly. She had made some appearances with AEW. She had done stuff on Dark. So she's another one I think makes a lot of sense over there.
Very viral clip before she went to wrestling
which made it so wild that she ended up there after the way some people over there talked about her.
Yeah, people were talking crazy about her when that shit went viral, and they were like, "This is garbage wrestling. This is trash." And then she worked there for a good chunk of time in WWE. So, but I think there's like Eddie Thorpe is like I remember seeing him pretty heavily featured on the West Coast and New Japan and all these things. Like, I think he'll get back to it. Like, there were wrestlers offering advice. I saw Top Dollar saying thing like sometimes a release is a blessing. There's a lot of people that took an opportunity or took something as devastating as this and turned it into an opportunity. So it's never the end of the world. You can get back to this. Some of y'all are going to get back to WWE. So, like, it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, we have, like, numerous stories of people ended up getting released or something, and then they go on a tear on the indie somewhere and end up right back over there. So you just never know. And even if it doesn't turn into that, you just never know how this could land for you. You could go somewhere else and have, like, the run of your career. So I don't think it's over for some of these wrestlers. I think that a good amount of them are going to land on their feet.
I was just thinking of the funniest thing that I saw all week. Ricochet is being a menace on the internet to everybody, being great and amazing.
So funny.
And then he said something about WWE, and somebody quote tweeted him and said, "This is some crazy bridge burning." And I was like, thinking about like the bridges can't be burned. CM Punk headline WrestleMania. That doesn't mean anything anymore. Anybody can say anything in the world.
Bret Hart ended up going back.
Bret Hart went back, dog. There is no bridges burned. You can burn a bridge down and piss on it, and you'll still be back eventually. It's not a thing.
No.
Some tweets, Ricochet could say WWE is the worst thing that ever happened to me in some tweets, and those don't matter. Like if they want him back, he'll be back.
I mean, remember how they were talking about Naomi when they walked out?
Mm-hmm.
She back over there like nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I don't know, man. I think a lot of fans just talk about a lot of stuff that they don't really understand. And at the end of the day, this is business. If it makes sense to bring somebody back in and they think they can make them some money, they'll be back over there.
Dude, I was there 2014, New Orleans, the Ultimate Warrior. I saw the Ultimate Warrior talk on a mic, a WWE mic. He died the next day, but he talked on a mic after they made a DVD that said this is the worst wrestler they ever had on their company. Like there are no bridges could ever be burnt. Yeah.
Yeah. So, of course, I don't want to get into fantasy booking people's lives and their career. I hope that all of these people land on their feet, end up on the better side of this. Before we get out of release talk, what did you think of some of this EJ and Dukas stuff as well? Because we got the news that EJ's contract expired, and EJ was tweeting a lot of stuff. He tweeted that clip of the media call where Tony was praising him, and he was like, "Yeah, this was just a few months ago." I was like, I don't know how well it's gonna go over, but
yeah, that's probably not the way that I would have went about it, but I understand. I guess this all kind of ties together, Phil, because a couple of people released from WWE kind of have the same sentiment, and a lot of people in this position will have that sentiment of like, I want to work. Give me the opportunity to work, and I'll do this. Put me in any position, and I'll do what you want me to do. But wrestling doesn't work like that. Sometimes they'll pitch this: the hardest worker in the room's gonna get an opportunity. The person that's in the gym, first one in the gym, last one leaving, that's the person who worked and earned that spots. Sometimes that's a thing, but that's so fucking rare. You know what I mean? It's about way more than reps and like I'm in the gym and I'm ready for this. There's politics, there's life, there's people working. There's so many things that go into getting on a TV show.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we've seen multiple times that this is not a meritocracy.
Right.
You could work very hard and you could feel like you earned a spot on TV. And that doesn't mean you're going to get it. There's too many other things that go into this. Politics, people have their favorites, and it does just how it goes. I don't think that they gave EJ a fair shake. I don't think that they gave him enough opportunity to show what he could do on TV. And I think that was the unfortunate thing about this. The guy looks great. He looks like $1 million. For what you could say about him in ring, I just don't think we saw enough of it to say he hasn't improved or he doesn't deserve to be here.
Right. I couldn't even I think the opportunities that I got to see him on AEW TV and Ring of Honor TV, he did improve, and there was flashes of him being able to really cook here, but he was just never given the full opportunity to show it.
And with some of the people that it seemed like liked him, I was surprised that didn't work out for him.
Surprised.
And I mean, I can't put it out there, but specific people that I knew were a fan of him, and they saw him once on the screen and like, well, who is this guy? Why is he not doing more? And why? Like, he had people back there vouching for him. It just wasn't enough to get him in the positions that he should have been in, and that's a shame. But I hope that this leads to him getting more things, because he was cooking coming out of MLW run, and I thought that was going to lead to him getting at least something in Ring of Honor or something. And it's just kind of wild that they couldn't find anywhere for him.
It goes back to, because you said something about favorites, and that's just kind of how the wrestling business works. Like Triple H has his favorites. Like if you sit and break down how this works, Triple H has his favorites. You sit and break it down how he wants. Tony Khan has his favorites. Wrestling just works like that. And like the most frustrating part about it is when they get signed and they're stuck in something, or like they feel like they're trapped. And like, that, like there was a point that I knew EJ wasn't going to have the stuff in AEW just because of the way he's presented and just because of the way they were there, that he existed there. And it's just frustrating that at that moment, like you talked about earlier with the releases, like the wrestlers can't be like, okay, I'm leaving or they don't have that opportunity. It has to be like when the company's like, all right, we're done with you. And it's so frustrating that it doesn't work both ways. I think EJ with this look, every time I see this guy out of the ring, he has that aura. He looks like a big superstar. He looks like he's somebody. So it doesn't really make sense why he isn't doing somewhere cooking somewhere. It just
I mean, he stands out in the crowd every time you saw him. I saw him twice in Vegas, and it's hard to miss him because he's a big, huge guy, and he looks incredible. I just think, like, man,
when they had that, when they did the weigh-in with Swerve and West Side Gun, I was all this. I like how this looks. I wonder. I'm curious as to why none of that didn't develop any further.
Yeah, I don't know.
But like the strategy though, EJ, I probably wouldn't have.
I mean, it's fine. It's wrestling. It's social media. It'll blow over.
It'll totally blow over. But like promoters are petty.
Yes.
So if you disrespect one, or what if you don't even feel like you disrespect, if people perceive you disrespecting that promoter, they think you disrespect all promoters. So I don't, I'm not trying to blah blah blah. But you know how this wrestling business works.
That's true. And also, you know how people are with us. You got to play your role. It doesn't matter how nice you are, how much you say you are grateful for the opportunity. If you say anything out of that looks like it's too much, this guy's difficult, or I don't want nothing to do with him, or he's got a big ego, or whatever.
Did you see how he's talking on the internet? Did you see him? This guy's difficult. I'm not even going to deal with it. And like, there's no point in that. Like, I don't want to be like just put your head down and nose to the grindstone, blah, blah, blah. But like, there's a time and a place, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I get it. I get emotions are running high when
totally
he was over there for a long time, and like I said, I don't think he was given a fair shake. And if I feel that way, he's definitely got to feel that way, even more so. I'm sure.
Probably a really frustrating thing being a wrestler, man, and just being what you feel like trapped when you feel like if you're given the opportunity, you knock it out of the park. So emotions are continuously running high. Wrestlers getting released is never a fun thing, never a good thing. And these people have families, these people have kids, these people have houses, these people have lives that go beyond what we see on TV. So we just want everybody to cook and be given the opportunity in all avenues.
Yeah, and of course, with the current landscape, with the current political climate, not a great time to lose your job. And that's why, I could totally understand people's frustration. It just looks away. I mean, the cost of living is going up, and it's never a great time to lose your job, but like, it's really a scary time to lose your job, man.
It's crazy out here, Phil. Every time I open my phone, I'm like, get me off of this simulation, whatever this is, dog. Like, could you leave me out of this? And they don't leave me out of this. They're like, you specifically, you live in Oakland, California, and do this, you're dead. I'm like, yo, that's crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, wish everybody well that got released. I'm sure there will be more releases soon. Hopefully,
there's a lot of wrestlers in that company, Phil. Like, looking at the landscape of it and kind of going down the list, like, they have so many wrestlers signed, man. It's crazy.
And they are definitely, if people don't think they are trying to make room to bring in more.
That's a fact. Yeah. That's what this is.
Yeah. We'll get into some more wrestling news. A lot of happenings from Japan. But before that, I'm going to hit you with a word from our sponsors.
BetOnline.ag is the official betting partner of Fightful. 100% of the time when you get the odds from Fightful, they are coming from BetOnline.ag. And it's not just wrestling, it's not just MMA and boxing. It's football, it's basketball, baseball, hockey. They have the earliest lines. You can bet big with the high limits and rebet functionality. They have the fastest payouts with winnings paid in minutes and the industry's best bonuses on every qualifying deposit. They've been trusted for 25 plus years. It's not some fly-by-night company. BetOnline AG has been there. They've done that. In addition, they're trusted by millions. They've got VIP rewards programs and a ton of popular games. BetOnline.ag BetOnline.ag. That's where I go to make my bets. That's where I suggest you go to, my friends. Please just bet what you can and bet responsibly.
As always, please just bet what you can, bet responsibly. I know it's a fun time to get your bets in with the NBA playoffs coming around. Baseball is back, but please be careful with your money out there. But if you do want to get your sports bets in, betonline.ag is the place to go.
Yeah, get yours in. Basketball, the people that betting and winning on basketball, I commend them because it's tough, man. These games are going different ways. People are doing different things. Someday this guy will cook. The next day this guy will cook. So, I'm with y'all out here. Let's get into a few super chats and things before we move forward. The homie Tenruza says, love you guys. K-Dot concerts going off, Beyonce going off, and DJ Head being the best. Love it. Also, Fed can go screw. Terrible. Thank God for AEW / New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, I'm now getting the update on Shotzi. Apparently, she is not part of releases, but according to Sean Ross Sapp, they did not renew her contract. So technically, she's part of the crop that's leaving the company, but she was not released. They just didn't renew her contract.
Oh, yeah. Tenruza. And the next super chat says Shotzi moved to alumni section, SRS chasing it up. So yeah, it feels like maybe one of those contract expired type things too. And they just, because she did a promo a few days ago that felt like that energy of, I'm not going to continue forward with this company. So this isn't super surprising to me as someone that lives in the Bay Area in Oakland, California, and watched Shotzi establish herself in Hood Slam specifically. I'm sure I'll be seeing her very soon.
Yeah. Going to multiple indie wrestling shows and watching her do some crazy spot, slam herself into a bunch of chairs or a table or something. I very much think we'll see her again on the indie circuit.
Shotzi was not confusing because they'll do this, but they took away all the things that made her Shotzi. And then they were like, well, what are you doing now? And it's like, well, you took away all the things that make her her. You signed her with those things. Why don't you let her be that person? And pretty unfortunate.
Yeah.
When she was like hosting the NXT shows and stuff, I was like, all right, we might be getting somewhere. But then it's like slowly started to chip away.
Yeah. And man, she was another one that was very, very popular on NXT. I thought at some point that they would figure something out, like the tank and everything was over, and I don't know. I don't know what happened there.
Appreciate that, Tenruza. The homie Grapple Geeker says WWE never used Shaina right after NXT. Her versus Ember Moon is one of my favorites, especially her resetting her own shoulder and pulling her own hair to choke out Ember with clutch. That was badass. Yes, Grapple Geekery. That was awesome. You recounting that made me remember how awesome that was. And I agree. After NXT, they never let Shaina be Shaina. What established her and why she was so over in NXT, they never let her really do that on the main roster.
Yeah. Big fan of what Shaina was doing on NXT. I said for the longest, everything they wanted Ronda Rousey to be, they had it in Shaina Basler. And it's all aesthetics over there. Like, she didn't fit their look. She was older. And so, she was never going to get the push on the main roster that I felt she deserved. But man, so many great memories of her as NXT champion. The feud with Kyrie walking up that hallway. Shaina!
Yeah, dude, Shaina was badass. That's what every time I would see Ronda when Ronda was cooking, I was everything that she's missing in the ring, Shaina has it. I'm like, everything you guys want Ronda to do, Shaina could do, but you guys won't put Shaina in that position.
She was just so effortlessly cool on NXT, man. She had the theme music. Her theme music was cool. She came out and did like the Ace of Spades thing, and she did like the card trick. She had like all of those cool leather jackets. They kind of fumbled with Shaina, to be honest, man.
They did. I love Shaina because she's an unconventional wrestler. She works her style. There's the famous thing of she doesn't run the ropes. Like, I love stuff like that. Like, that just makes wrestling so much better. That's a detriment for some people. I'm like, no, that's what makes her cool, you guys.
Yeah, I really like Shaina, man. I was one of the few people that didn't hate the shoot style match she did with Ronda at SummerSlam because it was different, and
Exactly.
we don't get a lot of that.
And it was good because she was in it.
Yeah. So, man, yeah, I really don't think they understood what they had in her on the main roster.
They don't. They didn't. But I think that she's going to, like I said, she could do her style for 20 more years. So I don't think this is it. Unless she's just like, fuck all this. And I would also totally understand.
She'll be fine. Like she'll be able to go to Japan and do more stuff like Bloodsport, and there's a place for her doing other things. I think the idea of her working with Marina and doing other stuff would be cool too.
I can't wait to see next year's Bloodsport match, and we get to compare it to this year's Bloodsport match and how different it's going to be.
Bro, Hassan, no, seriously, Shaina as a Death Rider, bro, the vibes would be crazy, bro.
Listen, Marina, I'm liking, fun times here, but Shaina in that spot,
bro,
life is different.
send Shaina some olive pants and like one of them white t-shirts. Like, come on.
Shayna's in there. Get her leather jacket. She's ready to choke somebody out. She did that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, Grapple Geekery. Bianca Leia says releases are bad when you're making record money, but releasing a number of LGBTQIA women of color and people of color talent is pointed. In the words of Kid Mero, fuck out of here. Honestly, it looks crazy. I just continue to say that, Bianca. Like every time I see things, I'm like, well, that looks away, but I'll think it's in my head.
Somebody said it last night in the chat when I was doing the SmackDown post show, but just the optic of that leaked audio from the roast, and they were making those jokes about Shaina, and then she got released like a week later. That looks very crazy. And there might not be any correlation there, but just the fact that that's an optic, it doesn't look great. And just like they're saying, the LGBTQ plus people and like some of the more alternative women, the women that are not like the usual aesthetic of like the pretty girls.
I didn't even think about that part.
All of those.
With how they've been talking and acting lately around WrestleMania and stuff. Oh,
that doesn't look great. And it could be a coincidence. I don't know, but it don't look good.
It's a crazy coincidence. I'm like, when you really look at it, it's like, damn, dude, that doesn't feel good. And then I think the money thing is probably crazy because they keep throwing this at them, and you see what's Stone Cold doing here? He's like, hey, we made a bunch of money. You're like, well, I'm about to be released, or I just got released, and it just looks crazy.
Yeah, it was Orion Ben that said it last night.
Thank you, Bianca. Issa David says these are mostly women and non-US talent. This isn't cost-cutting or creative issues. We know exactly what this is. DEI. I think TKO is buying TNA and merging them together. All these shows for what?
Yeah, I could definitely see it. That ban. Did you see that? They're banning blading.
I did see that.
It does feel like it has that
what
feel.
What does that mean, Phil?
It does have that feel like they're grooming TNA and changing the product for a sell.
With all these releases recently and the Gail Kim stuff and the all those people that they release, it looks away. I again have been hearing things for a while that they've been trying to sell this, and they've made some offers to some people. And this really, though, is like they're hammering it home. They're really cleaning up the image, and it's interesting. They did a big house. They continue to do some big houses for TNA, but can this really be like a continued viable thing?
I don't know. It depends on what they want TNA to actually be. If they just gobble it up and take their tape library, that's different. I don't know if they're going to keep TNA as another brand. They've got too many other brands.
I can't see them buying that brand and being like, also, we have a TNA show. Like, I just can't. Like, they tried it with WCW. They've tried it a few times, and it never works out. I can't see as somebody totally under their umbrella that they bought existing. Like, Evolve is different. There's a couple of things like that that are different, but like, it wouldn't work. I think just the tape library and the wrestlers is where they'll go with it.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because TNA has lasted for so long. Like, it's definitely the little engine that should have died a long time ago, but like, it's still here.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, Issa. Aaron Ruiz says WWE should not take for granted the amount of women talent they have. That Roxanne booking is awful at the moment. And once again, where is Alexa?
Yeah, I cannot believe that Alexa was not a part of WrestleMania season. I mean, that pop she got at Royal Rumble was insane. And so I thought for sure she was going to have a big match on the card, and hasn't happened. And I was like, okay, then maybe they're going to bring her back on the Raw or the SmackDown after Mania. We still haven't seen her. So I don't know what's going on here.
And I keep hearing this. I think SRS was talking about it on the show last night about her. She was supposed to be connected to Wyatt Six plans and something. Well, okay, well, pivot, dude. You got a big star that people still want to see. That people are. We just saw her get huge pops. Put her in something else until you get there, because you have a star and you're wasting her in a company that said they never bench people. Somebody that shouldn't be benched is being benched.
Yeah. I don't get it, man.
If you want to continue to establish these tag team championships, pair Alexa Bliss up with somebody and let's fucking go. Like, what's going on here?
Nikki Cross is right there. They have a history as a tag team. You just, I don't understand. This isn't that hard. And I know some of it is Bo was injured, so that's part of why they haven't had Wyatt Six on
Alexa.
I know, but that's why I'm like, I don't know why they just haven't moved forward with Alexa.
Like, I understand they should, like, let's get back to it. But for now, like, Alexa's ready to go. And I saw people all over Vegas. I saw so many people being like, I saw Alexa and took a picture with her in the lobby. Or I saw some dudes, I was sitting eating in the Palms, and two dudes walked up so excited to their friend. They're like, you never guess who we just saw. We just saw Alexa Bliss. And they were so, I'm like, what is going on here? Why doesn't the company see this?
People were very excited for Alexa coming back, man, because they had waited so long. So, yeah, I think they dropped the ball with that.
They better get on it.
Yeah.
Man, Tenruz also says, sending love to those let go behind the scenes, too. Yeah, there's another side of some people that have worked there for a while that got released, too, that kind of fall to this wayside. So, love out to them, too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's another part of merger, of course. You know, people on the executive side and people on the production side are going to get released, unfortunately.
That's where we're going to start seeing it more, too, as this merger becomes. Did you also see this, a part of this TKO WWE UFC merger, Phil? That's everybody's favorite entrance theme creators in Def Rebel are now going to start making songs for UFC fighters because they want to cut costs.
I did not see that.
Yes. This is now a thing. They're going to start making songs because songs are fucking expensive. So you might start hearing your favorite Def Rebel themes in the UFC.
What happened to that edict that they were going to try and start using licensed music?
Yeah, I don't know. What happened to that? That shit's expensive is what happened, probably.
I mean, I know, but I don't think this is it.
After what I've been seeing every Royal Rumble, like them UFC guys are going to have a tough time.
I will say I don't know who made the new Street Profits theme. I really like it.
Oh, okay.
Like I had it stuck in my head the other day.
See, they might have something.
They got one with that one, I think.
And then Busby, the respected madman, says Bianca never got her lick back on Shaina and NXT, not even on the main roster.
No, which is so crazy because once they were ready and once Bianca took off, she took off, and Shaina never really took off like that on the main roster.
No.
I mean, like the way she was booked very strong initially. Remember that Elimination Chamber match where she basically eliminated the whole field, and then that just led to her losing to Becky, and then nothing.
They just used that as the stat for her. They're like, remember that one time she beat up all the people in the Elimination Chamber? And we're like, yeah, we do remember. That was cool. Why didn't you do anything with it?
Yeah.
In the Becky match. Oh, man, come on, guys.
Yeah. Ryan Papalo, I think I'm pronouncing that wrong. He used to do the stuff on the bump, and I know he did some other production stuff. He got let go.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah. Ryan Papala, I think that's how you pronounce it. I could be mispronouncing it. My bad, Ryan, if I'm fucking your name up.
That's unfortunate. He was one of the guys that, like we were describing, he was doing all kinds of stuff behind the scenes.
Yeah.
He's over here. Like one of the guys that they used for all kinds of different stuff. So damn, that's crazy.
Yeah. But you know how this goes, man. TKO is gonna, release people or fire people and bring their people in. I'm sure like there's still Triple H people that are trying to get back in over there. There's Triple H wrestlers that's still trying to get back in over there. So I know it's probably people on the back end that are trying to get back in.
Yep. It's gonna be a bunch of this going on. People trying to earn their spots. Some people might get fluctuated over to AEW, TNA. Like there's gonna be a bunch of things just continuously happening in the wrestling business. It's a crazy time to exist here. That's all of our super chats for now.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. We've got some more Humper chats. I think I read that one. Okay, so yeah, we got some more from Tony P. He says it doesn't help that one of your tag champs is off TV to do a movie. You're about to gut the women's depth from NXT, and with the NXT men's division also having no one. Also, you still have a weak main roster, mid card, and it hurts more. I think the men's division is going to benefit from them bringing in more indie guys. I just think it's a matter of time. It hasn't happened yet, but they're going to eventually bring in more indie guys in the men's division, and they're going to bring in luchadors for AAA.
That's all. I'm seeing how they're booking the shows now, and Penta and Phoenix and Santos and Jacob and all these people. Like the people filling these shows up are our favorite indie wrestlers of the past whatever years, and if they're not, it's our favorite luchadors of the past whatever year. So like the shows are definitely booked different, and I think they're going to continuously be able to fill these spots now in a different way than the previous years. Triple H, you see what he's doing, Phil. We know exactly what he's doing. We know exactly what all this is, brother.
Yeah, what was his global localization plan is back in effect.
Global localization is in effect. He's just throwing darts at the fucking map at this point.
Yeah.
What can we do over here?
More from Tony P. He says, however, if I was a talent, I would be more wary of the place. It seems as if they are now working for WWE instead of them. It's clear WWE is trying to use them to scout, also to take their top stars. I don't know if that's in relationship to, it seems like something you said got cut off. Tony, my bad. I'm assuming maybe that's the partnership with AAA or TNA that you're talking about. Okay, Tony said he means the NXT men's roster.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Tony also says in a couple of years when the Hardys are gone and they don't have top talent the WWE took, they will have a lot of trouble drawing fans. Then you got the bleeding rule in place. I wouldn't be shocked if they just sell to WWE in a few years. I wouldn't say a few years.
Like if by the end of the year they're not purchased by WWE, I'd be very surprised. Like the end of this year.
I think it's going to happen sooner than in a couple years. Yeah. Tony also says in AEW land, they just need to keep what they are doing very good to great shows. This was a home run this week too, from the PWG match to Mayu kicking Tony's ass, literally, to Mercedes running in the heels, then having Tony dance to Hater Rave to the main event. Yeah, buddy, I've been telling you. I've said it on Bleacher Report. I've said it on this podcast. AEW's weekly product is better. It is. And I'm sure people are going to take that away coming from us because we're AEW fans and we have not made it a secret that we're AEW fans. But I do think like at one point WWE's product was hotter and you could see it in their creative. You could see it in the weekly product. It just felt like they had a lot of really good buzz at the right time. And right now it feels like that's shifting and AEW has it going at the right time.
Yeah, WWE fell into this. It happened a little bit before WrestleMania. Is like I see a lot of people describing or talking about the chunk between Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania this year was too long. And like there was a part where it felt like they were just going through the motions. They're like, we all know we're going to get to the show. We all know what this is, but they weren't like super selling us on what's going on. And it feels like that same kind of momentum has happened after Mania. Post Mania is just like, all right, it's post Mania. We're establishing new people, establishing new things, but we're not really like feeding the things. In some aspects we are, but like the whole show is not bam, bam, bam like it was. And AEW has taken, I think, a lot of the criticism that they got post a couple of these pay-per-view main events and just how people have been looking at them with their energy and just put out great wrestling show. They haven't been talking. Tony hasn't been doing a lot of quotes for people to run with and a lot of talking on the internet. It's just been great wrestling, great main events, and what we loved about AEW is back, it feels like.
Yes, I think they learned some of the right lessons from last year. You can see it in some of the promotion they're doing already for Forbidden Door in London, and just the way that they're trying to get into circles with mainstream media and trying to get out of the wrestling bubble. It seems like they're seeing what didn't work last year, even trying to change around the arenas that they're working, working smaller arenas, working arenas that fit the show that they're trying to put on. And I think that's the right move. I think they learned the right lesson from that opening segment a few weeks ago with the Bucks, and they're like, no, the thing that worked with the Bucks initially, the thing that a lot of people that followed them from New Japan and the Indies to this company was what they've been doing on TV for the past 2 weeks. And so I never understood why they were like, hey, let's come out and have them do this talking gimmick and be authority figures. No, get back to the wrestling. That's what people love.
Doug, I'm not trying to see Nick and Matt with a mic in their hand, pointing and doing bits, talking, and Kenny. No, dog, get these. Ring the bell, dog. Like the reason that we love the Young Bucks is because when the bell rings, they're one of the greatest tag teams of all time, and their matches are crazy and exciting and innovative. And part of what got us to love AEW was matches that they do. So just continue to do that.
Yeah, it's an extension of what they were already doing, and it wasn't broke. So
it's just PWG on TV. That's I saw. I think somebody was tweeting. They said people say that AEW is a big indie promotion with the budget, and it's like, yeah, like
it's not a bad thing.
That's why I love AEW. Like I wouldn't watch AEW and be obsessed with it every week if it wasn't that.
Yeah.
And when they try to get away from that is when they get away from me. So I don't know.
I just think when they do a variety, it works best. Like you have the Hurt Syndicate Max stuff for the sports entertainment style stuff, and it's working. It's good. Yep. But like with the match style that they opened the show with 2 weeks in a row, this is it. This is what people want to see. This is what people want to see the Bucks doing. This is what people want to see the Elite doing. And it's hidden, bro. When Kenny came out and he came out to Battle Cry and they had the camera on him doing this point to the air and he's like flexing and saying, come on, with like the light flickering behind him.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, I was literally screaming in my house like, yeah, let's go.
We are back. We are very back. Yeah, seeing Kenny Battle Cry, then just facing off with Okada and knowing the history behind it and what this represents and what we're gonna get is insane. Seeing I've seen all-star PWG 8-man, 10-man, 6-man tags in Reseda with a lot of these guys featured in this match before, and to see it on the highest level, to see it on the streaming service, see these guys going 1,000 miles per hour, seeing something I saw in front of 200 people is so amazing.
On Max, bro. To see that on Max is so funny, man. And yeah, it's just fun. It's just fun wrestling, and that's what it's not rocket science, man. Like this is what just deliver fun wrestling shows with good matches, man. And this was it, man. This was a lot of fun. Ricochet is continuing to be one of the best characters on the show, and he can put him in there with all the other dance partners that have done PWG matches. He fits right in. He's right at home with all of this. And so when he tweeted the other day that this restored his passion in wrestling, I can see it. You can see it in just how excited he is to play off the crowd, the matches he's having. You can tell he's having so much fun wrestling again. And man, that's what I think makes AEW such a great alternative for people that if they did do the WWE thing for a while, hey, let me go over here and do something different that I might not have been able to do before. And I mean, that doesn't just go for AEW. I mean, that was what was fun about watching Naomi go away and do the TNA knockout stuff, or what she's doing right now. You can tell when the wrestlers are really clicking on something and they're having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And man, you can see that all over what Ricochet is doing right now. And man, that's part of what I love so much about this big multi-man. And I thought about this watching Kevin Knight and Speedball in this match. For one thing, it's just so dope to see Kevin Knight brought in and used in these big matches and these big moments. I mean, he's an easy guy to put in these spots because he's uber athletic. He can do all the big high spots. But you know what it reminded me of a little bit? It reminded me of that little bit of like the women's division was starting to come up, and then they just added Swole and Statlander, and they just added such a different energy as free agents. This feels very similar with Speedball and Kevin Knight. They just brought them in and they just added such a different vibe.
Yeah, it's so funny because you kind of with Speedball, like I knew he was gonna, because we all know how I feel about Speedball, but I did get a little bit of that Ricochet thing of like they could make him be lost in the shuffle. They could just like put him in there and be like, this is the guy, but he's great as you think he is, but we're not really going to give him the opportunity to shine just because of the landscape of AEW. But they've given him every opportunity to shine, every opportunity to show exactly who Speedball Mike Bailey is, and it hits because of course it does. Put Mike Bailey in there, have him start throwing kicks. Some of the kicks that him and each Matt and Nick are throwing at each other are crazy. Like the way that the super kicks hit are insane. The way that Kevin Knight has gotten over on this roster with he hasn't said a lot. Like when he has said stuff, it's been great, but mostly just ringing the bell and doing some of the craziest things you ever seen. That the Ricochet's up on the shoulders and he does the drop kick over the rope, and Ricochet does a moonsault to the outside. How do you jump that high? Like, I don't even understand the physics of that. I don't understand how this works. I don't understand why I can't do that and you can. But yeah, the way that Kevin Knight is instantly kind of going into a different stratosphere makes me so happy, and he's killing it. Both of them.
Ridiculous. The little pose he does where he stretches and does that frog splash where he turns in midair, like wow, how are you doing this?
Too Cold Scorpio vibes. I know a lot of people. He inspired a generation of people, and there's been a bunch of wrestlers that have came after him, Too Cold Scorpio specifically, that do his style and have did things that he've innovated. But I really get the vibes from Kevin Knight with the transitions and the turnaround things that he does. There are a lot of Too Cold Scorpio coded offense, and I fucking love it.
Yeah, just his sequences when he gets going and he starts getting his offense in, so dynamic, just incredible. One of the best drop kicks in wrestling, and he's in there with a guy that for a large part of his career was considered the best drop kick in wrestling, and Okada.
You say the best drop kick in wrestling describing a match that has Okada in it, and you're not talking about Okada. That's just insane. Yeah. It's crazy. But yeah, Kevin Knight's insane. Okada's drop kick is still crazy. And the face-offs, all this is just like, this is what continuously, when AEW gets a little bit off track, like this is how you get back on. This is what we crave. This is what we need. If you did one of these every single week, nobody would be mad.
There's so much stuff here that I wanted in the first year, like Okada being in the mix with Kenny, and it just feels like this is always where Speedball was supposed to be.
Yep.
Like I enjoyed his TNA stuff and some of the rest of the stuff. Of course, he's done, but like he just fits in so perfectly here.
Ricochet felt like he talked so often about the WWE dream and wanting to live that, and I was happy to see him over there. And I thought that he would cook a lot more, but like AEW, like when the Bucks and all these guys were establishing what AEW was going to be, Ricochet was on the other side of that. Like a lot of times, like a lot of the craziest PWG matches of all time were the Bucks, and Ricochet was in there somewhere, and Adam Cole, like a lot of the guys that were used to establish what this company was. I always want them to be involved. That's why I always say that Kev and Sammy are my number one guys from from over there, because like the people that established what this brand was going to be and established what wrestling was going to be at this space, I want them to show it on the highest level. And I'm so happy that Wednesday I was like, okay, Ricochet established what wrestling was going to be for the next 20 years. Everybody, he has so many babies. For him to show and do exactly what brought everybody to the dance on the highest scale is so awesome. He's amazing.
So fun to watch. And he's got all of the character stuff going. In this match, it was all of the stuff that I loved about not just PWG Bucks, New Japan Bucks, where they're doing all of the funny bits, the arm trapped moment over the top rope where Ricochet gets caught and Okada's outside like, no, it's not Omega, and then he like taps his head and realizes it's Ricochet because he's bald.
Such a New Japan coded ass spot.
So funny, man. Ricochet behind Matt's draping his hair over him so he'll have hair. All very funny stuff, man.
The fact that Ricochet turned a little dumb crowd bit of being bald into like a full thing and everybody slapping his head now is like, what?
All really, really fun stuff, man. The way that they won the match, Mark Briscoe took the pin, and of course the Elite and Ricochet and all the heels are running away, and they're at the top of the platform celebrating. Just couldn't get any better for like I said, I want AEW to be what I want the build to All-In to be. Like all of the framework that they've put in so far for Omega Okada, I'm in. I've seen all these people going, explain to us why this is a big deal. I'm like, I feel you, but because I was a New Japan fan already, I don't need any of that. Like, I know
why this is a big deal. You don't got to tell me, motherfucker. Just have them face off.
Every time that they have interactions now, I'm just sitting there like, I can't believe we're finally going to get here. Very excited for that match.
I mean, a big part of you guys hear me talk shit about the Young Bucks, and there wouldn't be this company without them. If you were to base it off just matches and like what a big reason of why AEW exists, Kenny Omega and Okada is a big reason why we watch these shows every week, because of what they did and who Kenny established himself as against Okada. So when we see them in the show that they kind of help establish, it means a lot. So like, I understand when people are like, explain it, like, yeah. But the people that know, we're in. It doesn't matter.
Yes. I also love that now that Tony's a baby face again, she's just like, okay, I just want to wrestle. And so they keep doing like the open challenges and giving her matches. Great. And the matches have been heat, man. Great to see Yamashita on AEW again. I thought that they had a very fun match. They're still doing like the kooky, zany stuff with Luther, but it's also more of a focus on the matches, the in-ring stuff. It's not just like the kooky stuff and the soap opera stuff. And I think that this is probably the best blend of it. All this stuff.
I was curious as to what her babyface run was going to be as compared to the heel run. And I love that they're taking this aspect, because as a heel, you know, historically, you don't have to defend the belt. You could just be like, I'm a heel. Fuck you. I'm not doing this. But as a babyface, for her to be like the fighting champion and taking on all comers, that match with Queen Aminata was crazy. They were fucking fighting to the death. And then this Miyu match is just like, I love fighting champion, timeless Toni Storm.
Yeah. I love that you're getting all of the other stuff, like her doing the TMC movie festival, and then also like her doing the backstage stuff, and still doing all of the character stuff that we like, but still showing people like, no, I can still get in there and wrestle as well. And crazy. So I've been loving this so far. Then she's still looking over her shoulder for whoever wins the Owen, which I saw a lot of people this week starting up the whole it has to be Jamie because of the lore between them, and the fact that they haven't really drawn attention to a lot of it on TV tells me that Mercedes is going to win this tournament, guys. I think you might as well get ready. I know some people don't want to hear that, but I definitely think Mercedes is winning this tournament.
We're trying to temper those expectations for you guys. I mean, they could be throwing us off by having it feel like Mercedes and Tony are on this collision course, and they keep having them interrupt each other, and they're not really putting the emphasis on Tony and Jamie like they should have. But Mercedes is so winning this fucking tournament, you guys.
The other part of it is I don't think that they've done enough to build up Jamie as the person that beats Mercedes after all this time.
Right.
I just don't see it. And I could be wrong. Maybe they're going to do this big shock out of here, but I don't see it.
I just think with the time and then establishing what All-In is going to be, like you need the biggest marquee matches, and like Tony and Mercedes just like screams a huge marquee match. Tony and Jamie's a big marquee match too, but I just think for where we're at right now and what we've been doing with Mercedes, it just makes the most sense.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, really love what they're doing with the Owen stuff. The main event was phenomenal. To be expected with those two guys. Hangman is Hangman. Kyle Fletcher has been on an incredible run. And these guys, man, Fletcher was dumping this guy on his head and neck several times. I'm just like, are you sure? On the apron, that brainbuster he did, I was like, oh my God.
Nope. Leave me out of this. I'm hurt. I'm stopped. Stop the match. Let's go home. Yeah, this is like the future of this company. Both these guys are going to be AEW champion within like the next 3 years at some point. Like the fanfare is behind them. They both come in with a lot of momentum. I think Kyle Fletcher, I love seeing Kyle Fletcher continuously in spots like this because they need to continue putting him against the top guys, showing like when it's time, he's going to be ready. And I think he's already ready. Like if they did like a whoops, Kyle Fletcher is now the AEW world champion, I think it would be awesome. Just be how fucking crazy and hard he works. Like his matches, he's trying to enter into like that expert fucking level, like working with Will Ospreay and all these top guys continuously is putting him into a different level, and he already feels like he's there. Like I have the most faith that I could have in somebody in this position in Kyle Fletcher. Like I could put him in the main event tomorrow and he's going to knock it out of the park.
Yeah. Did you see that clip of Meltzer talking about him? He's like, what is this guy doing? What's he on?
No, I didn't see this.
Yeah, he was talking about Fletcher. He was like, what is this guy doing? And Alvarez was like, what do you mean? Like, look at him. What's he doing? Like he was saying he basically looks the part of like Orton. And when you look at him with like just like his facial shape and like the shaved head and everything, like his build, I can see the comparison.
I see it. Mm-hmm. I've been seeing a lot of people say that, but I keep brushing it off because I'm like, but their styles are so different.
Yeah.
Like the look, yes, but as soon as the bell rings, it's completely different wrestlers.
Yeah. Indie-rific Randy Orton is hilarious.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it. If that's what's gonna get him to get established, then I'm with it. I think him kind of getting bigger and looking bigger, new gear, new style is really working for Kyle. Like he lost, but like this doesn't mean anything. Like he's on his way up.
No, and I mean, we had both predicted he was going to lose because it feels like they're done with Kyle versus Ospreay for now.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't see them having that big blow-off match at the pay-per-view and then going right back to it at Double or Nothing.
No.
Especially after Hangman won in the first round, I was like, oh, he's going all the way to the finals now. There's no way he's not.
Is there a world where Hangman Adam Page wins in the final?
I would really like to see Hangman win. I don't think he's going to win. I think Ospreay is going to win.
Me too. I think there is a, like, if we're bringing back percentages, I think there is a percentage. I don't think it's 0%, but I think it's way more in favor for Ospreay than it is for Hangman.
It's pretty low. I kind of feel like this has been Ospreay's tournament to win from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that they've capitalized on Hangman correctly?
It's tough because I feel like he's hot and he keeps getting hotter. And I feel like with every match, with every angle, with every promo, he's getting hotter. But I do feel like they could be doing more with how hot he is. Like this guy is out of here. Phil, you said it a number of times, like he's like the guy, like he's like the Roman Reigns. Like if they need to, like the future of this company, this guy's the guy. And for what he represents, I do think they could be doing more. I don't know what that means. And I don't think they like dropped the ball with him, but I do think they could be doing more with what he represents and who he is.
I didn't initially think that. Last year, when a lot of people were saying that the main event for All-In should have been him versus Swerve and not Bryan, I understood why they went with Bryan. I understood what they were doing. The further and further we get away from that, the more and more I feel like they have mishandled Hangman. And I'm not saying that I think he necessarily had to have that main event, but coming out of the year that he had, especially after he beat Swerve at All Out, I think that they should have done more to push him into the world title picture.
He probably should have just been the one to beat Bryan out of it at least.
Something. And I just think your fan base at every turn keeps telling you that they're behind this guy. And I don't think that they're necessarily getting to the spot that they should be. I mean,
they're setting him up to lose against Ospreay.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not terrible, but if I'm assuming this is heading towards him and Swerve teaming up and then having the match with the Young Bucks, I don't know that I feel like
that's the way. And I'm the big Young Bucks fan. I don't think I wouldn't do that for him or Swerve. I don't think either one of them should be in that spot.
Yeah, I don't know that I believe, like, considering the year he had, like, he is the best character in the company. I think he's the main character of the company. He's at this point one of the most beloved baby faces in the company.
Correct.
I don't think that they've really done right by him in the last year.
He would have been world champion at one point throughout there. Like I said, I probably would have had him beat Bryan. Like, I know what stories you're telling. Like, I probably still would have put Bryan in the All-In main event just for the was and what it represented. But Hangman would have been the one to beat him and not Jon Moxley at all.
I think he should have been champion again by now. And I think it's kind of crazy that he hasn't been. I don't know. It's just too much. And I know people will go, well, you guys get so stuck in fantasy booking, but I'm just like, the idea of Hangman winning the Owen after his story arc last year of being stuck in this feud and not being able to get over what Swerve did to him, and then doing all this stuff with Daniels Christopher Daniels, and then turning babyface. His redemption arc should have been winning the Owen. That was the ultimate flip of everything from last year, of him learning his lesson and moving on. And so the idea that this is the biggest show of the year, you're building this as your WrestleMania, and the character arc he's had for the year, he should have been coming into All-In on a horse to challenge for the AEW World Championship.
I thought it was almost a given with All-In Texas and the cowboy thing and the aesthetics of the show. I was like, oh, we're getting Hangman Page in this main event like we should. I thought it was going to be Ospreay and him in the main event for the belt there, and not this match that they're going to have going into it. I think we're just at AEW has been improving, and they had like the shows the last probably like 6 to 8 weeks have been really exceptional, but we're still at this all hands on deck thing. We're still at this, we need to be firing off at all cylinders. And when you got somebody that's hot and your fan base keeps telling you, this is the guy we want, he's hot. If he's not the champion, he at least needs to be in the contention. You know what I mean? Like, at minimum, he needs to be getting title matches. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to be stiffing a title match for a while.
Yeah. And I'm not saying all of this to say that I think that Ospreay winning the tournament and going on the challenge at All-In is a bad choice either.
No, it's a good choice.
It's hard to say that that's a wrong choice with how over this guy is and how special his matches feel on all the pay-per-views. There's only so long you're going to be able to keep him out of the main event. But I don't know, man, with just how popular Hangman is and just like the story arc you have with him, I don't know that they've really capitalized on it like they could have.
Mm-hmm. Not for what he represents and what he could represent. Like,
yeah,
we would have been talking way different about like Revolution, all the shows that we were kind of upset about with the endings. If like Hangman Page was on top, it would have been way different.
Yeah. But yeah, I do think Ospreay is going to win. I think doing the first time matchup with him and Hangman at Double or Nothing. That makes that match feel even bigger. Very excited for both Owen Cup finals, but I'm assuming that my picks from the beginning of both winners are probably going to happen.
Great tournament, but it just kind of felt like we knew where we were going to get with it.
Yeah. Like I said, the MJF Hurt Syndicate stuff continues to be great. The stuff this week where it felt like Bobby was going to finally put the thumbs up for him, and he just kept talking, and he was like, nah, screw this guy. Thumbs down. And Max got so mad. And that's how you can kind of tell where this is leading. You can't trust Max.
No, you can't trust him. I mean, the way that he immediately switches from friendly guy to fuck y'all is not... Yeah. There's indicator there. When Lashley snatched him up and had him in the corner, and that vein, when that vein was coming out of Lashley's head, Phil, I was scared. I was like, this is a scary person. And at any moment, he can rip anybody's heads off.
Yeah. I think all of this is really pointing at that Bobby is right about him.
Yeah.
He's right to not trust him.
And he keeps trying to tell everybody, like, I don't know, you guys, this is not really the vibes. We're already in all this bullshit messing with him, and we're going to continue it. And they're just like, the hoes, some fun. It'll be chill. He's funny.
Yeah.
Is this leading to a Bob and Max match?
I don't know. I don't know where this is leading at this point.
Yeah, me neither. I'm just like, I don't know what this is. I'm having really fun with the ride, and I'm interested to see where it lands. Like, it feels like that could be where it's going, but it also could not go that way.
Yeah. I'm just so surprised at how well this has managed to get over. Yeah, I would have never guessed that he would end up working with Hurt Syndicate after that Jeff Jarrett feud that ended up not going anywhere.
You heard Jeff on his podcast?
I didn't.
Jeff went on his podcast. Jeff Jarrett, sorry guys, went on his podcast, and he was talking about the Max feud. And he said that anybody that feuds with Max is worse off after it's over. And that
oh, no,
they're worse off that it was over, and that Max is selfish, and that he didn't want to do that. He didn't want to get in the mud with Max, but he was forced essentially. He buried MJF. I'm like, I don't know if it was in character,
no,
but like it wasn't. And he was just like essentially like he wants to be given a better opportunity, and they're not letting him. And it's like, Jeff, you're like,
but you're Jeff Jarrett. Like, I mean,
like, what more do you want, my friend? But yeah, he went in on Max though.
What more do you want from me?
Right, seriously. Like, I hear you, Double J, but like he was saying that Max, because remember Jeff came on a show and he was like, I want to be a champion. And he was like, oh, Max really took that person. I'm like, I'm sure he fucking did, Jeff. Like, he thinks you're talking about the AEW World Championship. And if you're the champion before he is, what the fuck?
It's a lot to take out of that.
He still work there.
He could be working.
Could be working though. Could be working. It is Jeff Jarrett. He probably is working, but I liked it.
Yeah. I mean, I think overall fun episode. I don't care how many times we see Mercedes run away like that. It is so funny to me when people were putting all those sound effects on it. Because she was calling her a Scooby-Doo character, and people put the Scooby-Doo noise over her running away. So funny, man.
Dude, Mercedes is a beast. I've caught up on a couple of the Collision main events of her teaming with Harley, and like she's just so good in every aspect of wrestling. It's insane.
Yeah, I feel like it's a close race between her and Io Sky for Woman of the Year at this point.
Io is fucking. She's working out there, brother.
Smoking it.
Them working boots have been on every night. I'm like, nah, Io ain't playing with y'all.
Yeah.
We're going to do a few super chats and we move forward. The homie Tony P says, I meant release WWE talent should be wary and not trust TNA now. Oh, got you. Seeing the moves TNA's been making, you could be back under WWE and back in the same spot. Yeah, great point to bring up, Tony, and kind of what I was interested in seeing is like they have all these partnership now so that eliminates those places, but also does it because I feel like Cora Jade was just featured on the TNA thing in the partnership, and I feel like they might really get her now. But are they? Because are they setting up like it when they are trying to sign a wrestler? Is it now like we got to talk to them to see how they feel about it? Like I don't know what any of this means at this point. So it's going to get really interesting for these wrestlers and how these contracts are moving, and WWE ID and all these outside ventures is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
Tenruza says your boy is going to Forbidden Door and Glasgow Dynamite, which they announced.
Yeah, should be a fun one.
I'm happy that AEW is doing more international shows like WWE. I think was super cool doing a lot of their shows this year. I'm happy that AEW is moving into different markets like Glasgow, and the Arena Mexico show is going to be fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Tenruz also says, can't wait for Cedric Alexander in the Hurt Syndicate. Do you think that's in the cards, Phil? Do you think that's where this could be leading to?
I'm not sure, but I would love to see Cedric be a part of it. I'd love to see Cedric over there just in general. Just I want to see Cedric on TV.
Same here. Like anywhere he's been announced for a bunch of dope independent matches, and I just want to see him on TV. That would have been super great if his contract stuff would have aligned with him getting into the Best of Super Juniors, which I think would have been fire. But maybe next year. Yeah. Shout out to the homies. It's coming up here soon, but shout out to the homies, Kevin Knight and young Wayne, Nick Wayne, who are going to be featured in the Best of Super Juniors, though. And that's going to be fire. Jason Knight 58 says, so if Mercedes does win the Owen, are we just going to have one important women's match at All-In?
No, I would assume not. They're hinting at there's going to be something for Athena. So I don't know, man. And Mercedes keeps hinting at Athena stuff. I don't know what that means.
Jamie and Athena are playing a game. I don't know if that means anything.
I don't know. It would be kind of wild if Mercedes wins the Owen and then she uses the title match to challenge Athena instead. And then we could still get Jamie, Tony.
Still get Jamie and Tony.
I don't know, but I don't know what that means. I definitely think we're going to have more than one women's match. At least I would hope so.
I mean, I would not say this is going to be one important match. Like, I think we're going to establish another thing up there like Stat. And there's some women, Megan Bain, there's some women that are establishing themselves that they're going to need to be a part of this. And I think they're going to put some importance on it too. I don't think we'll just have one.
Yeah. They should do a women's casino battle royale or something.
Yeah, honestly. Something fun like that they do for the men when they want to get a bunch of them on the card. Appreciate that, Jason. Hey, what's over there says, I'm back, boys. Saw that Nikita Lyons got sent to special ed NXT, which is insane. And I couldn't stop laughing. Special ed NXT is wild, Phil.
Let's relax, bro.
That is crazy. Yeah, I'm surprised she wasn't one of the people, but when I see the double knee braces, I'm like, where do they think you're gonna go from here? This is you already got two Stone Cold Steve Austins. Like, this is crazy. So
I don't want to root for people to lose their job, but yeah. There's a lot about this that I think is kind of crazy.
But yeah, relax. Hey, what's over there? Who also says Kyle could go after Kenny, Okada, or Cole. Kyle Fletcher.
Yeah, that could be cool. Love seeing Cole excited again as well.
Me too.
He talked about how he felt like he finally clicked again in some of those Garcia matches, and he's been excited. So.
Thank God. I mean, Adam Cole, they still got my homie Adam Cole fucked up. Like, he still represents what he always represented him. Given opportunity, he always kills it.
Yeah, people are kind of talking crazy on him.
Mm-hmm. I could see, I mean, it was only just one match this week, but I'd like to see an expanded Kyle and Hangman thing. Like, this don't have to be it. Like, we can really get into it. Kyle and Kenny, I think, is inevitable. I think with coming off of what happens, exactly what you're saying, here. I think after the match I expect to be like they're going to combine the belts after the match of Kenny Okada. Like Kyle could definitely be on the heels of that, taking on the winner.
Yes. Yeah. There are a few people that have been saying they want a Kenny match that I feel like this is the avenue now after the Okada match where you can do it. Brody was saying he wants a Kenny Omega match, which get to it.
Swerve. We still want. What do you think happens with Hangman post what we think of him not winning the Owen? Do you think they're going to emphasize the Swerve and him tag team?
I don't know. And I think, but see, that's part of the problem here. I think with them not fully capitalizing on him, I think the fact that he doesn't have like a clear lane, even if you're going to do the tag team, like it's not.
Like he should have something immediately after this Osprey shit if he's not going to win.
Yeah.
So,
but it's a tag team. I feel like they're going to do the tag team match at All In.
Yeah, me too. Which is going to be amazing and kill, but like
it could be fun. But then what?
Yeah. Got to get something from Hangman, you guys. Tamir Scott says, super excited for AEW 2300 Arena Month. TK, my wallet is yours. Yeah, they announced a big residency at the former. People get mad when you call it the ECW. It's not the ECW Arena anymore. It hasn't been the ECW Arena in so long. Don't even blah, blah, blah. The former ECW Arena, now the 2300 Arena on the corner of Swanson and Ridner and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They announced a residency for AEW, coming off the heels of the Texas residency last year and the Hammerstein residency. I think these residency shows are super fun. Philadelphia, we were just in that crowd last year. Super hot wrestling town, has always been since I've known wrestling. So them picking that and this historic venue, even though it doesn't have the same significance, is still, I think, going to be super awesome.
Yes.
People are like, it's not the ECW Arena. All right, I hear you. No, you're right. It's been a long time, but still, it happened there. Those are the hallowed grounds that existed on.
Yeah.
Caleb Cassidy says, how long we thinking it takes for Logan Paul to poorly steal that mid-rope buckshot lariat as well? Next match?
Bro, that variation of the buckshot he did out of the corner and then did the second one.
Hard. That
finish was fire, bro.
Yeah, that was super hard. When he came off that turnbuckle, I was like, oh shit, that's hard. See, Hangman, he can just evoke moments like that, and what he represents is always going to be that. That's why he has to be in the world title picture.
Yeah.
Logan Paul and Jey Uso, huh?
Yep, that's the match.
I thought that was a good idea, Phil.
Yeah, he put out the video for his theme song, and it's like very white boy rap. At one point, he's rapping about dapping up the president, and I was like,
gross. Leave me out of this. You suck, Logan Paul. And then Hey, what's over there also says, my fault, remedial NXT. Plus, I'm expecting MJF beating up Hangman after the Owen loss, but the Hurt Syndicate still say no and add Cedric.
Yep.
Yeah, because I don't think he's going to officially join the Hurt Syndicate, but I don't know at this point.
Yeah, I'm along for the ride. I don't know where this is going.
Like, if it ends up with Cedric, that'd be great. But if it ends up with Max also, that'd be hilarious. I don't know. We'll see.
Yep.
That's all of our super chats. Appreciate you guys. You guys are great.
I've got some more Humper chats. Send us your Humper chats. humperchats.com/Fightful.
Yep.
Tony P says, if they can stick the landing with Double or Nothing pay-per-view, then I feel like they are back on their way to being the good graces of wrestling fans. Speaking of pay-per-views, Japan has some this week with New Japan, Sendai Girls, and Stardom. Yeah, some pretty big news coming out of New Japan for these pay-per-views. Stardom had its All-Star. Sorry, let me make sure I have this right because the names of their pay-per-views sometimes sound too similar. This was All-Star Grand Queendom, sorry. There was a lot of news coming out of this that I'm sure is going to play into a lot of stuff coming up.
It's crazy in Stardom. Feel like so much news is consistently coming out, and like big news. It's not just like, oh, we got a show coming up. It's like, no, 4 wrestlers that have established our brand are leaving.
Yes. So of course, like one of the main stories coming out of this is Mayu Iwatani lost her belt, lost the IWGP Women's Championship to Shuri.
Crazy.
After a 735-day reign with 9 defenses. I believe this makes her like the most dominant IWGP champion of like the last year or so, but really the last 2 years, to be honest. And man, what a feat for her, especially with some of the criticism thrown on that belt. Like she really made her mark as his champion. She's been fantastic. But as soon as
every match that she had as champion was fire. Like she established that championship. Like the criticisms weren't because of her being a fire ass champion, you know?
Yeah, but as soon as she lost to Shuri, Sari came out and seemingly challenged Shuri. That match sounds like it's going to be fire. She's been another one since she left NXT, and she's been back in Japan doing what she does best. She's just been incredible. And Shuri is Shuri, so I know that match is going to kill. But this led to the news that Mayu is leaving Stardom. That's pretty big news because, like, for the like main 3 that really built that company on their back, that was, of course, Io Shirai, now Io Sky, Kairi Sane, and Mayu. They were the big 3 for this company at one point, and she was really the last one there that was really the last pillar. And so I started to believe she would never leave, but with some of the rumblings around Rossi and the way that his exit happened, I was like, I don't know. And she was being very unclear about like her future with the company, and that kind of led me to believe like, oh, she might not be long for this company. But yeah, she's leaving, and as soon as I saw she was leaving, I was like, oh yeah, she's definitely going to Marigold. And so we got the press conference the next day. She did join Marigold.
That little bit of it was probably like not even 12 hours though of the time of her leaving, and people being like, the rumor started circulating. She might go to WWE. She might do this. She might do all that. So I'm like, she's not going. She's not coming over here.
Yeah, as soon as the announcement came out that she was leaving, I was like, oh yeah, she's going to Marigold. And so this wasn't shocking to me at all. People that were trying to make this she's going to WWE, I didn't buy into that. Now, I did think it was interesting in the press conference. One of the reasons she said she was going to Marigold is because she wanted to wrestle Io and Kairi again, which that plays into more of the Marigold WWE partnership stuff. So I don't know what that means. There's a lot to take from that.
Hey, if Rossi's making deals, because it sounds like Rossi's making deals. Hey, come over here and you can still wrestle your friends, but you don't have to go to America. I mean, it's not the worst.
Yeah, I think it's a good spot for her. She seemed very happy. Just like all of those clips from the press conference, and
that's what I took away from it. She looked like she was like the best thing for her at that moment, you know?
Yeah, and so if this is the best move for her and she's doing what she wants to do, great. Man, she has done just about everything you could do with Stardom.
She carried that company on her back, dog.
Yeah, I mean, literally the icon of Stardom. I mean, Grand Slam champion. What she did with the IWGP Women's Championship, that's going to be cemented. That's going to be part of her legacy. Of course, like the feud with Io and stuff she had over there, Thunder Rock and the tag team stuff. She's had an amazing career with Stardom. So it feels like it was kind of time.
Right.
To be honest with you, there was really not much more she could do there.
It was interesting that the IWGP reign was happening kind of on the tail end of her Stardom run, and like how those connections were, and she was still booked so strong. Like there wasn't like a lot of like inclinations in the show that like, oh, this is a person that's on their way out, because she still was like booked like a pretty strong champion. And what I guess my question is just, what the hell's going on with Stardom, Phil? Like it feels like this continuously, if it's not somebody jumping ship or leaving, it's somebody retiring at this point.
They're in a transition phase. I mean, we saw that with like Bushy Road taking over and Rossi getting ousted. So not that surprising. A lot of the wrestlers, the dream is to come here.
Yes.
Like Mina had been saying it for a long time. So once Mina's contract was up, I was not shocked at all. That was the other big talking point that we got out of this, of course. Tekla had her match here as well.
Also, yeah.
Tekla was in for some reason in a feud with Okada, the president of Stardom.
What was that bit?
She had been challenging him to a match, but she ended up in a match with Sayaka. The winner had to change factions, which is a thing that they do quite a bit in Stardom. And so what we know about the idol killer character, the worst thing that can happen is her having to join Cosmic Angels, because that's everything she's been against as this version of a character.
Sayaka talked about it in our interview, how
and the fact that like that's Tam's unit, and Tam is very much a part of the idol culture that she's against, and that's where Mina really got her the start of her push with Cosmic Angels. No, she would never want to be a part of that stable. She ended up losing the match to Sayaka. Not a big surprise here. And so she would be forced to join Cosmic Angels. Instead, she just started beating up everybody and started trying to attack Okada again. So Okada fired her. She is effectively done with Stardom. The news behind this, of course, was that I think her contract has been up for a while. So I think she's been working per appearances, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong, but I think it was something like that she hasn't been on a contract for a minute. She was just finishing up her time with Stardom. So soon as that was wrapped, she's been taking the pictures of herself leaving Japan and like the emotional stuff online. She just posted a picture, I believe, yesterday with the keys and moving into a new place. She's got an art exhibit coming up in New York. She's in America, bro. She's been telling y'all, I want to come to America. When we interviewed her, she was like, that's the goal, is to come west, come this way, wrestle in America. And so I have to assume she's been in talks with somebody. She's probably signed.
I would think so, with how things are moving so quickly, and she's already in America and stuff. Like,
and I mean, there was already interest from AEW. Of course, this could be a reunion with her and Julia in WWE, but again, not a shocker, because she had been talking about wanting to come to America for over a year. And so I figured when she finished up with Stardom and just the way that Donna Del Mondo ended and a lot of stuff that she was a part of, and just having to start from scratch and recreate her character, I could see that this was kind of the trajectory for her.
Dude, there's going to start to be wrestlers that are in great positions, like coming out of somewhere like Japan or Mexico, where both major companies are going to be very interested. And that's exactly where she is right now. Like, I could see her ending up in WWE or AEW, because they're both going to have major interest. There's some of her old people in WWE. We've seen her work with New Japan people and stuff in AEW. So I could see her going either way, and I could see both sides giving her a pretty good little push, you know?
Yes. Of course, the biggest story coming out of this was Saya Kamitani versus Tam Nakano for the World of Stardom Championship, career versus career match after their other match. And I didn't know where this was going, because I just, for whatever reason, I just couldn't wrap my head around Tam retiring, because she's been such a fixture for Stardom for the past 3 or 4 years. But the closer we got to this, I'm like, yeah, Saya's younger. Like, Saya's just starting this character. Like, the hate stuff is really starting to get going. I couldn't see Saya retiring, and so I'm like, it seems like Tam is gonna lose this match. But what does that mean? Of course, Saya did win. I haven't seen the match in full yet, because I usually watch them when they add them to Stardom World. But seems like this was a great match. All the people I've seen have been raving about it. Meltzer gave it the breaking the scale rating of over 5 stars. And so I assume this is a fantastic match. All of the stuff that Stardom does well with like the visuals and storytelling, like them sitting on the platform at the end and pointing, like all of that stuff looks beautiful. Can't wait to see this match. But man, Tam is officially retiring. I don't know how I feel about that. It's very emotional because if you followed Tam's career, um, she's been kind of the engine that could at one point. Like she was like the mascot for Red Tai. She wasn't one of their main wrestlers. Then she ended up moving to Star. She had that great run of matches, and then the tag team with Ariza, and then she got her own singles run. Eventually, started her own unit, and she really became one of the biggest stars of the company. I don't think anybody would have predicted that at one point in her career, and she's been tremendous for them. So I'm glad that she got the run that she did up to this point. But then when you think about it, she is 37. How much longer was she really going to work at this rate? And Japanese style is very hard on your body.
Way different. Way different. She's been going a gazillion miles per hour for years at this point.
Yes. And, I mean, I just mentioned Ariza, and Ariza had to retire early because of the neck issues. And so it all makes sense. It's just still wrapping my head around that Tam is not going to wrestle anymore because she's been such a big part of Stardom.
Yeah, just thinking about the class that she's kind of attached to and how much of them we see on our regular television, American televisions on a weekly basis, is like, I thought that eventually she'd be one too. Like, if anything, I don't know for how long, I thought she would eventually get one little American run or something more than what was kind of presented in this last couple of years, because she didn't get a lot of like the crossover matches, or she didn't do a lot of like coming over to America and stuff like other Japanese women in her position did. And I always thought that was kind of interesting. So now when this happens, I'm like, okay, being that age and going as hard as she has for so long, and we see a lot of women or Japanese wrestlers in general in that position, this kind of where their careers land. It's unfortunate, but like, she's done so much and she has like a really crazy resume that, like, what a career.
Yeah, just this last run, multiple time world champion, some
craziest matches you've ever seen too, not just like, oh, that was a good match, like high ranking matches.
Yeah, first woman to hold both the World and Wonder Championship in years. That puts her in that same conversation with like the EOs of the world, and just like, again, I never would have guessed that for her because she was never like the main star in a unit until like within the last 5 years. But yeah, just all of the work she got to do with Ariza, that tag run she got, Cosmic Angels, and what that turned in for her and Mina and Unagi. What an amazing run she ended up having, man. This is really a good place to end it. She's done so much for that company, especially when they were losing some of their bigger names. And so it was inevitable, but it's just still hard to process it for me, man.
I think when you're talking about going out on top, though, Phil, from the highlights that I saw, from how I saw people talking about it, Meltzer's like, it's one of the most emotionally driven matches and angles of all time, any wrestling company. Seeing the emotions, like, that's how you probably visualize your career. Like, she probably was like, I wouldn't want to come back after that. Like, that's an epic way to send yourself off with this crazy match featuring some crazy head drops. They did some shit on the apron. Like, they're trying to destroy each other's lives, and then ending in it with that such emotional moment, and how people are talking about her post that. Like, I think, like, shit, that's about as good as you can get for a send off,
Yeah, that's a great high note for her to end her career on. She's had some great matches over the past year or so. Had a great rivalry with Julia. They had some fire matches. Of course, like the stuff with Not Spoil and their tag team, also great stuff. Like, all of the stuff I'm thinking about, like, within the past 3 or 5 years, man. What a run.
Yeah, super fire. I need to watch that match in full, though, because it looked crazy.
But yeah, she's officially retired. But just those 3 big notes coming out of this show, that's just a lot of news. Mayu leaving
in one fell 2-week sweep, they lost Thekla, Mayu, and Tam. They're gone.
Yeah. Losing Mayu is big, but I wouldn't worry about Stardom. We've seen Exodus before, like when they lost EO in 2017, and then losing Kyrie before that, and they still managed to go on. So I think they'll be fine. I don't think
They got
this is
so many
like
fucking workers and heavy hitters, and their pipelines is just so continuous and good that I'd never worry about them. I mean, they lost their tentpole characters a couple of times, and they're still in the talks,
Yes. And I mean, Saya is going to be, she's really the future of the company.
Right.
So it's fine. And they've got a few other wrestlers, like big fan of Hazuki. I think Hazuki is one of the ones that they've got to push forward now. They've got wrestlers now.
She's
I mean,
tight.
they still got Micah. They've got so many great wrestlers. Starlight Kid. They'll be fine.
And those are big names right there.
Yeah. So they'll be just fine. Of course, also got the first night of New Japan Dontaku early this morning. Stayed up to watch that. Night 2 will be coming to you tomorrow. Probably going to stay up to watch that as well because New Japan fan, guys. But yeah, night 1 had a lot of like story driven stuff. It was really a top heavy card. Like some of the undercard stuff was what you would expect from like a night 1 of a New Japan show, where it's the big multi-man matches. They're fun matches, but they're not really like the focus of the show.
They're just so everybody can kind of see who's going to be presented in the big show tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the big story stuff is the Naito stuff, which is still hard to process as well. Naito's only got like 1 more appearance with this company, and then he's done. And that's
I don't believe it. I think like it doesn't feel real to me. I'm like, that doesn't even make sense, but it's real, dude.
Yes. I don't know what that means for LIJ. There's so many questions I have going forward. Yeah. It's just the same thing we're saying with Stardom. It's just, and even more so with New Japan, like the era that really got a lot of fans watching this company around like 2015, 2017. They're all gone. Okada's gone. Tanahashi's about to retire. Naito's about to be finished. Like, it's crazy to think about. No Kenny Omega. None of like the big names that were here are still leading this company into the future.
It's so crazy that I feel like we were just when we talked about the Windy City Riot show, and we talked about Naito, and I saw Naito recently at a New Japan show in America. American fans treat Naito like something way different. Like he's like a god. Like there's people that don't care that people think he's over the hill. They don't care about that. Just as when he comes out and he stands at the top of the ramp, people are like, that's our guy. Like he represents something way different. That's why it's still so shocking to me. Like the fact that he's not straight up retiring and he's just leaving is, my brain's like, what?
Yeah. I mean, in Japan as well, this guy is beloved, bro.
Dude,
like,
he's huge.
Beloved. I mean, I saw it when I saw him at C2E2. His line was long, which no surprise.
That's what's so confusing about all of this. I'm like, well, I thought this guy was going to work in New Japan until the end.
Yeah, I thought he was going to retire with New Japan, and he still could.
Yes.
I'm not sure what to make of this contract stuff. Crazy times. crazy times.
Contracts. New Japan did a tweet where they said NXT instead of Next, and I was all, don't play with me, New Japan. Yes.
Yeah. Mostly multi-man matches to start the show. Had a fun 8-man tag to start the show. Actually, yeah, 2 8-man tags to start the show. That's where we got the LIJ match that went on second. Then we had a 6-man tag match with Deguchi teaming up with Bishamon, which is Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi. Deguchi is hilarious. He effectively is a member of Hantai now. So if you've seen Bishamon come out, they have like the ceremonial garbs on, and they have like the sticks and everything. And so now Taguchi came out with them, and I guess to make it official, he has a stick too. And like, what are they doing? But yeah, they took on a team of United Empire, Callum Newman, Great O'Khan, and Jacob Austin Young. that's another stable that has a lot of turnaround at this point. Jeff Cobb leaving, the free agency stuff, some of the stuff that TJP has been saying online about Jeff Cobb and the leadership stuff is wild. Probably don't need to know this stuff.
Why
but it's out
is
in the wild.
TJP saying that? And he's just like on like some Reddit stuff. I'm like, TJ, maybe no.
Yeah, but Callum Newman is the next big challenger for Hiroki Goto. That's going to be the main event for night 2. So that was really the build for this match. But yeah, not much to write home. It was basically the usual undercard matches for night 1. I thought the show really picked up when we got El Phantasmo versus Konosuke Takeshita for the television championship. This was
surprised.
Yeah, this was a very fun match. It's the usual television title rules with 15 minutes. Ended up in a time limit draw, but that last stretch of the match where they're trying to jockey back and forth is fantastic. It's Takeshita. Who's surprised?
He just keeps doing it. Every different opponent, no matter the time, the stipulation, he's going to kill it.
Yeah. We also got Zack Sabre Jr. versus Hiroshi Tanahashi with their history together, and Zack Sabre talking about what Tanahashi means. Really loved that he got one of his last matches, and his match was really good. Tanahashi keeps showing us that he still has something in the tank, and he gets in there and he still does great storytelling against these guys. But of course, he's losing a lot because that's usually how it goes. Your last year, you end up with your back on the mat in most of these matches. Zack Sabre picked up the win here, but at the end, Zack Sabre shook his hand, did the show of respect, and bowed. Really great match.
It's just cool to see Tanahashi in all these matches on the way out, honestly. They're establishing or putting him against people we've seen him in with before, but just like the last time ever thing aspect, so cool.
Yes. Yeah, I'm seeing people saying how weird TJP is. Yeah, his online presence can be very bizarre, but what a great wrestler, man. The guy is so
wrestler. And he's been good, legit. This isn't an exaggeration for like 25 years. Like I've been hearing about TJP for so fucking long at this point, and he's been good for so long. But then every time he talks on the internet, I'm like, this guy is kind of awful.
Yeah. A lot of the best wrestlers are problematic guys.
Dude, damn. There's that generation. It's like him, low key, Austin Aries. Like those guys are, I don't know, such great performers, but damn, they won't shut up.
Yeah. I finally got you. I was trying to get that fake Denise on my screen so I can get rid of her. Finally got her. There's the bot in our chat that was like Denise Salcedo, and it clearly was not her.
Oh my God.
But yeah, man, TJP, man, he's just one of them guys, man. He's really, really good, but some of the stuff I've seen him do, some of the stuff I've seen him say online,
there's a bunch of like, you don't have to say that. Like we would have been fine without knowing this.
Yeah, tremendous wrestler though.
He's so good.
Shingo Takagi,
the artist separated.
Hard to separate these things, man. Shingo Takagi versus Shota Umino. These guys really don't like each other. That was the build to this. The Shingo does not like Shota Umino. And so Shota does his entrance. He's standing in the ring waiting for the match to start. Shingo's doing his usual entrance, standing at the top of the ring with the ramp with his arms crossed. Aura farming, gets down there, doesn't even take his ring jacket off and starts beating down Shota immediately because he does not like this guy. Man, Shingo beat the shit out of this guy. I mean, bro, the strike exchange is in this. Kudos to Shota at some point for continuing to survive some of these hits, some of these lariats he was hitting him with. I was like, dude, you don't have to get up. It's all right.
Nah, Shingo's trying to show him, like, if you want to strike, this is how we strike. Shingo ain't fucking around.
Shingo was trying to knock this guy's head off. But, man, Shota gave as much as he got at certain points. He hit him with this nasty-looking headbutt at one point, came back with the strikes. I love the addition of the Busaiku knee to his moveset. He hits it really well. He hit that towards the end of the match, and he got him up for his finisher, the second chapter. Shota ended up getting out of it, hit him with a disgusting pumping bomber. and pinned him. Afterwards, when he rolled over, blood was gushing out of his nose. I mean, if you would have seen how he got hit with this pumping bomber, it looked like he got hit with a car. I was like, God. Really, really, really good match. I really love this one. I think this is the stuff that Shota needs to do. This is going to help him get over more of him fighting from behind and
fighting for his life.
Man, he was definitely fighting for his life in there with Shingo. This was this was an excellent match. I really liked it.
That's good for Shota. I'm glad to hear that. Like, if he just keeps putting on performances like this, that's how he's gonna make it.
Yeah, but Shingo, man, Shingo's a monster.
I hope they have a great singles match for him at Forbidden Door, because there's been a couple of years I'm like, get Shingo something hard. What are you guys doing?
Yeah, get Shingo something hard. It's great.
Right. Okay, look, all right, okay, all right.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
The main event. The main event was the blow off to this big Bullet Club Civil War. They did a big dog pound steel cage match. The last time we seen the War Dogs do the big steel cage match, that was Ospreay's last match with United Empire. That was also the last time we saw Alex Coughlin. Sadly, they brought that up to put over how dangerous this match is and how crazy this was going to be. I was wondering how this was going to go with House of Torture shenanigans and putting them in there with the War Dogs. This was really, really good. This was a very, very chaotic match. Lots of wild stuff, lots of blood, lots of crazy barbed wire spots. These guys were in there trying to kill each other in the worst possible way. There's a bit at one point where the House of Torture guys start outnumbering the War Dogs and trying to pick them off one by one. And they are just like annihilating each of these guys one by one. Eventually, David Finlay comes back. David Finlay gets Evil in the middle of the ring. Hits him with the gun stun, which if you're a Bullet Club fan, you know what the gun stun means to this group. And this was the anniversary of Bullet Club as well. Hits him with the gun stun. One of the best near falls of the match. I thought that was the end of the match. That would have been such a significant way for him to win this match as the leader of the War Dog and the Bullet Club. But Gabe Kid, guys. Gabe Kid was the MVP of this match. He was tremendous. His back and forth with Ren Narita towards the end of the match, because it really started with him and Ren. So it was great that the match ended with him and Ren Narita. Ren ended up getting a disgusting looking crimson mask. He is just gushing blood all over his face, and he's got this big evil grin on his face the whole time. He sets up this table wrapped in barbed wire, and he's trying to, well, first of all, he's raking Gabe Kid's face across it at first. Then he tried to throw him through it from the top rope. The end of the match comes with Gabe Kid hitting with a pile driver from the top rope through this barbed wire table. It looks absolutely disgusting.
Wow.
Picks up the win here for his team. That means that House of Torture is officially kicked out of Bullet Club. The War Dogs are effectively Bullet Club now, which was the right move. I mean, because Bullet Club has really always been a bunch of gaijins in Japan. So
the War Dogs bit, yeah.
So War Dogs represent what Bullet Club is supposed to be.
Right.
It's been past time to make House of Torture its own thing. It's really been its own thing for a while. So to officially separate them, it feels like it was long overdue. This was the right move, and the match was absolutely nuts.
That's what I love about New Japan, is like, at this point, House of Torture is already its own thing. They didn't really have to tie this loose end, but for them to tie the loose end just because they're wrestling lore and that's what they would do, I love that about New Japan.
Yeah, Twan, bro, this crimson mask was absolutely disgusting. And then like the faces Ren was making, he looked absolutely unhinged and evil. Just crazy. What a wild way to end the match. And then of course, Gabe Kid picking up the win for the War Dogs. He did exactly what you think. Picked up the mic, starts barking, gets everybody into it, and he looks dead in the camera. And he's like, "We are the real Bullet Club. We are the best iteration of Bullet Club. We're the ones that have been saving this company. Fuck all the rest of these guys." He's getting his rubs off all, bro. He was in his bag, and I mean, this is again where I said when Kenny was hype coming out with the pyro behind him, I was sitting there like, ah! Gabe was going crazy. The crowd was going crazy for him. He's very much over, and the whole time, this was after, by the way, sore loser Evil, after he lost the match, tried to string Finlay up with a dog collar and basically hang him from the cage. They had to go and get the keys and get him down, and that led to the end of the match. But the whole time, Gabe Kid is going nuts. Finlay is just standing behind him, and I was like, what does that mean? It's very interesting because he felt like he led them to this victory. He felt like the leader here. And the whole storyline coming into this match was Finlay saying, I'm going to be the one that survives Bullet Club. I'm not going to get kicked out like every leader before me. I'm going to be the one that survives. Now, technically, that's not true because Jay White was never really kicked out.
But it's a fine line.
Yeah. Also, just like spiritual things, like the way that Finlay beat down Jay White on the way out with the shillelagh. The shillelagh gets broken in the match. Seemed pretty symbolic.
So Finlay's looking around at Gabe Kid cooking on the mic and the crowd being behind them, being like, "What? Uh-oh."
Even when they got in the back and Finlay was still getting his shit off, he was still the man up front talking. He gave Clark a chance to talk. Drilla got some shit off. And then at the end, Finlay was saying, I'm not finished with Evil. Challenged them to a dog collar match. And the whole time I was just sitting looking like, what does that mean? What does this mean? I could very much see a world where Gabe Kid kicks Finlay out of this group. I could very much see a world where Gabe is the leader of this group.
Yeah.
If that's not the case, with just how over and how popular this guy is, Bullet Club at its best is a heel group. I also would not be surprised if Gabe Kid gets kicked out. It could go either way. I was just trying to look the whole time like, what does this mean? Because there was a lot going on. But what a great ending to the show. What a fitting end on the anniversary of Bullet Club. Bullet Club turned 12 years old. And so to get a definitive answer to who is Bullet Club and it's War Dog, and man, I had my issues with Finlay taking over as leader, but I really love the War Dogs, man. They're such a great iteration of Bullet Club. I won't say
Bullet Club is 12 years old, Phil. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
They've been such a prominent part of wrestling. Like both companies, American companies, run off of like Bullet Club blood. It's crazy.
Yeah. What that time period when people were saying the Bloodline is the greatest wrestling faction, it's Bullet Club.
It's Bullet Club. Yeah.
In my opinion, it's Bullet Club.
The industry is still running off of the shit that they've established.
All of the guys that have gone through there, not just the leaders, all of the guys that have gone through there and have ended up somewhere else. Nah. Yeah. It's Bullet Club to me, at least. Like of this era, they're the best wrestling faction.
Yes, I agree.
But yeah, great way to end this show. We're gonna get night 2 tomorrow morning. Let me pull up this card.
So you don't care about sleeping?
Yeah, I'll be up. Why not? We're gonna get the War Dogs, Gato and Taiji Ishimori taking on Biden Blah. It looks like blah blah. That's not written. And Mentai Kids, probably one of those like early like young lion matches. Gato gave us one of the worst cage dives I've ever seen in my life in this match, and that made it also funny. And so when they're walking around afterwards and they're all backstage and Gabe Kid's getting his shit off and Ghetto's just standing behind, I was like, nah, I didn't forget you gave us that wild looking cage shot, bro. That shit looked crazy.
Shout out to Gato, still getting his shit in no matter what.
Yes. Yeah, Master Wato and Yoshihashi will be challenging the United Empire tag team match. We're also going to have Micah, Hazuki, and Kaguma taking on Starlight Kid, Azumi, and Yuna Mizumori in the 6 women's tag match. Glad that made that card. That sounds like a fun one. El Phantasma and Oleg Bolden will be taking on the Don Callis family, Konosuke Takeshita and Rocky Romero. I keep forgetting Rocky is a part of the Don Callis family now.
Yeah. Nice. That's a good match too.
Yeah, but then we also have a 10-man tag match. Hiroshi Tanahashi, Toriano, Chikuzan, Tajiri, and Yo will be taking on TMDK, Harley Jackson, Kosei Fujita, Robbie Eagles, Ryohei Oiwa, and Zack Sabre Jr. Then probably the last LIJ match ever. Well, at least the last one led by Naito for now. Bushi, Hiromu, Shingo Takagi, Tetsuya Naito will be taking on just 4 guys. Shota Umino and Tomohiro Ishii. So it'll be Taichi, Taka Michinoku, Shota Umino, Tomohiro Ishii. Yeah, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know.
Not ready at all. Definitely not ready. It's still weird hearing you even saying it, and I still can't believe it. Won't believe it till I see it.
I just still don't know how to process Naito not being a part of this company anymore.
Don't make sense.
I don't know. A part of me just doesn't believe it's over.
Right.
I think he'll end up retiring there, but I just don't know what this means.
I keep feeling like I'm gonna wake up every day in the final. They're like, just kidding. We resigned him. He'll be back. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Then we have for the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship, Yota Tsuji will be taking on Yuya Uemura. Very excited for this match. This should be a good one. The other funny thing about this show is Takeshita was sitting at commentary and multiple people kept looking at him coming out of the ring after they finished their match, and they would go over there and stare at him. That Takeshita match is a hot ticket, buddy.
It is. Yeah. Everybody's trying to get on that train now. Everybody's like, oh, I've seen what Takeshita's been doing. Can I be next? That's crazy.
Yeah. Shingo had a stare down with him at one point. Gabe Kid did as well, I believe. So definitely think we're going to see both of those matchups eventually.
Yes.
But the main event will be Hiroki Goto versus Callum Newman. I think this is a fitting match for Callum Newman if you're going to build him as a guy out of United Empire that's going to move up. They gave him a big tag title win, and then Jeff Cobb left. Still very bizarre.
Why did they do that?
Still very, very bizarre. But I think this is a good spot to put him in against Goto. I think Goto, of course, is going to retain, but very curious to see how this match is going to be worked. Newman is kind of in that same spot as Nathan Frazier, where he's so similar to his mentor and the guy that helped train him. Like, you can't unsee it. He's so similar to Ospreay, but he's very, very talented, athletic kid. Very curious to see how this match ends up going. But yeah, it's Goto's match to win. Can you imagine if
big goats?
Can you imagine if we wake up tomorrow and Callum Newman's champion?
I wouldn't. I'd go back to sleep because this wouldn't be real. That's crazy. Now, like we've talked about since Goto's won the belt, he is out of here. Like he is so out of here.
I really think that there's a strong chance he could hold that belt all the way to Wrestle Kingdom.
He is out of here. Them Japanese fans are like, we finally got our guy and we are behind him.
Yeah, he's got his like opera music that he comes out with. Like, nah, he's out of here.
Yeah. And shout out to him. Well deserved.
Yes, very well deserved. With where the company is now and seeing like all the transitions that's happening, glad to see he's getting this run because, man, he might not have that much time left. So glad he's getting it now.
With Naito leaving, now you don't know anything at this point. Shit, anything can happen.
Anything can happen. But yeah, that is night 2 for New Japan Dontaku. Definitely looking forward to not sleeping and watching that.
Who needs sleep? Well, it's the weekend. Every day's the weekend. Nobody cares. It's all about wrestling. That's great. Shout out to everybody who's going to stay up to watch that too. Y'all are cool. Let's get into a few super chats before we get up out of here. Hey, what's over there says, if this residency goes well, I could see one at Hammerstein next for AEW.
Yeah. Definitely think they're going back to Hammerstein soon.
I feel like that's going to be a yearly thing at this point. Deontay Soignier says they keep teasing him versus MJF 2 on the side. I think Hangman will always be him, but now not how we want. We love him too much. LOL. I do think he will win the title eventually, but think it's Ospreay's time.
Yeah, I agree. I think Ospreay's gonna win. I want this for Hangman. That was part of the reason I wanted Swerve to win, because I wanted those two guys to get the main event, but that's what it is.
It's time. He'll get to it. Tenruza says Dakota and B. Priestley, new top Stardom foreigners.
Maybe. I don't know what B. Priestley's going to do. I could see her going back to Japan. Other than that, I don't know.
It's going to be interesting to see when everybody's like 90 days or 30 days, whatever, how long they got is up, where things move.
Yes. Yes, Jeremiah does make a good point. Lashley told MJF, no, we want to see you hurt someone.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that MJF is going to end up attacking Hangman.
Mm-hmm. That's who he's going to hurt. That's where this is leading.
Yep.
Tenruz also says Alex Cardoza talking Jade was wild last night.
Alex was ready to risk it all, man.
Jade was looking like $1 gazillion though, so.
Yeah, that picture of her standing outside the ring and those people along the barricade are like just like looking straight down at her ass, and she was like, "I don't mind it."
And it's like a woman, a man, a kid, like it's a variety of people, and they're all like, "Damn, crazy, unbelievable." Ardua says, "Happy Grapsody, y'all. I'm feeling like Iron Sheik, but instead of racist Terry, it's racist company. F the MAGA World Entertainment." Mm-hmm.
Oof.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's hard to move forward with these things, but they happen how they happen. Appreciate you, Ardua. Deontay also says, crying for 2 days after Tam retired. An emotional, amazing match. Hit me Wednesday at work, but forever my favorite Joshi of all time. Believe in Tam.
Yeah, big fan of Tam. I mean, I really became a fan because I was a big Arisa fan. She was probably one of my favorite Stardom wrestlers, and I was absolutely gutted when she was retiring. But man, what a run Tam went on after that.
Insane. Appreciate you everything today, Deontay. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Hey, what's over there says, I think we get more hints about Gabe and David after Resurgence. Really looking forward to the Bucks and the Good Brothers.
Yeah, that is the thing coming out of this. The War Dogs will be facing the Young Bucks and their two mystery partners.
I gotta go there, huh?
What a crazy time to have to face them after they came out of this like crazy bloody cage match. Like, you want to wrestle those guys?
Now let's like do some spot foo and some flips and things. How about that? Nice transition. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to pull up though, because Bucks have been working crazy.
Yeah, busy weekend for New Japan. We're gonna have the New Japan Strong Show, Resurgence, and that is the start of the Best of Super Juniors.
New Japan getting back to it as always. Thanks you guys for the super chats.
We've got a few more Humper chats. Tony P says, I'm going to watch Sendai Girls and New Japan later today, but the All-Star Grand Queendom was a hoot. It has beat out Wrestle Dynasty as best pay-per-view of the year for me. All the matches really hit in some way, and the ending was really special. Yeah, I can't wait to watch it. To me, Revolution is still the best pay-per-view of the year.
Revolution's fire. I'm definitely going to check out this pay-per-view, though, if it's that high of a mark.
Yeah. He goes on to say, never was a big Tam fan, but it was sad to see her go. She has a huge impact on Stardom, helped as much as any as an Io or a Mayu. Speaking of Mayu, We knew it was possibly for her leaving after the possible for her to leave after dropping the belt. Yeah, it's still so funny to me when people are like, she's gonna WWE. Like, guys, I don't know. But he goes on to say, I was still shocked when it happened, but not shocked when the Marigold news came. She really was a big boost to Marigold. As dire as it felt last year for Stardom, with the women leaving and retirement, Stardom seems to have steadied itself and it will be fine. Yeah, I think Stardom's going to be just fine.
Yeah, no, they, like I said, the pipeline is continuous through that, and there's still a lot of people that want to work from Stardom, and people are going to continuously come in. They'll be okay.
I do think this is kind of an interesting time for somebody like a Shaina to go back over there, or somebody to, because they've got such a vacuum of talent now. So it would be interesting to see someone make their return to Stardom, like a Dakota or a Shaina.
I think either one of them could do it. So
yeah. Now, last Humper chat from D-Lo Diggs. He says, Sinners ruled. My wife was like, I wish I listened to blues more because that song got me tearing up. I looked and was like, you see why I love R&B. Missed last week, but the agenda is still the same. Just because the Lakers lost, that bum Nico Harrison not safe.
Yeah, this doesn't get Nico off the hook. He still made a terrible decision, regardless.
No, this guy is going to be forever hated in Dallas. This is still up for him. But yeah, appreciate you guys sending your super chats. Appreciate your Humper chats. Yeah, Sinners was great movie. I just appreciate blues music because I grew up in households where blues was played. Like I said, my grandfather was from the Mississippi, so big blues fan, big fan of like BB King and all that stuff. So I grew up hearing blues all the time. So I appreciate it. So especially like I'm from a city that is famous for its blues. So
exactly. Yeah, there's that connection. The South has a big connection to blues too. It's just like it makes sense that was kind of what was weaving the story together, you know?
Yes. But yeah, appreciate you guys. Believe that's all of our Humper chats. Double check just in case. Come on, reload. Yes, that is all of our Humper chats. Appreciate you guys. This has been Grapsody. We'll be back next week at our usual time, noon, on this very YouTube channel.
Yes, sir.
Also, make sure to follow our YouTube channel. That is youtube.com/@Grapsody. Appreciate everybody that has been checking out our stuff from Vegas, the Brody King interview, some of the red carpet stuff I got to film. Worked very hard to get this stuff up on the channel. So appreciate all the support. We are slowly inching our way to 1,000 subscribers. Appreciate all the support.
Yes. Subscribe to the page. The more you get on there, the more content you'll get. So do that. Appreciate everybody for showing up today. Bunch of people were here for the ride. So appreciate y'all. Y'all are dope.
Yeah, but you know what it is. This has been Grapsody. I'm Phil Lindsey. That was Righteous Reg. We're out of here.